I'd suck heaps of dicks for $20 million.
Well, no one cares about your saggy tits and your fucking.
Is your name?
Box.
I want to beat her to death with her dead fetus.
We're not saying anything wrong. We're just saying that teachers fucking boys is hot.
Come in my ass.
We're not endorsing kid porn. We're just giving you an avenue to do it.
Always down.
I hate when they call us the pommies. You guys are the fucking prisoners. You're fucking rapists with a tan.
How can you watch this through with like just laugh? Is that actually period blood?
Yes.
That's a lot. You'd have to like. You'd have to like.
Abortion or some shit like what the
Well,
fuck?
no. Should I suck dick now? Should I take it up the arse?
Only white privilege I believe in is white woman privilege.
Yeah.
White male privilege doesn't exist. They work for their shit. They work for their shit.
I'm fucking leaving. You guys are sickos.
Don't be that misogynist.
You know who you're talking to here.
Listen here, bitch. Faggots, whores, penis, come in your ass, come in your mum's ass, come in your dad's mouth.
Nothing beats a bottle of red wine and a fucking solid wank.
We're allowed to be hypocrites. That's the whole thing about this. We are all hypocrites.
All right.
Hi,
New intro.
episode 90.
And it's still really long.
It's a
fuck
spicy
you.
intro, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, we have our guests because Josh is on holiday. We have Kate back again.
Hi, everybody.
How
Happy
you
New
doing?
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And we have Nate. Yeah,
Corey.
Corey. Fuck.
Returning from.
Good start, Normie. Good
Great start.
It's all right.
Your
Nate.
fucking Instagram is Nate.
Nate, yeah. It's a poorly chosen nickname that I retained from my childhood.
Right.
Which I've,
Corey White. That's right. It's
really?
just
Yeah.
clicked.
What was
Sorry,
it?
mate.
Why that for a nickname? How did that come
well,
about?
it was always short for terminate because I was very
Oh.
accident prone
Okay.
and I was always terminating myself. And
Right.
Fair enough.
and then it got amalgamated with Nate Flog from the old rapper, the Crooner.
No.
There's
You
a
know
rapper called Nate Flog.
Oh,
Let's look him up.
100%.
There's actually.
I got hoes. I got
Oh,
hoes.
is that him?
Area
In
code.
different area codes.
Is that him?
That's
No.
him.
Oh.
I did not know this song.
Nate Dogg.
Nate Dogg.
Oh,
That's
Nate
it,
Dogg.
Flog.
That name
half
rings a
a
bell.
ginger beer
I
already.
told you were too intelligent, Corey. I said,
Well, I've,
Yeah,
I've
you got to dumb it
butchered the
down for
word
us,
there.
for fuck's sake. You know who you're talking
I
to
knew
here?
that the first time he came on the pod. I was like, I can't keep up.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all.
I think I feel
Can't
like
even
I
remember his name.
know this bloke.
First impressions last night.
Apparently.
Well, last
No,
time you were on
sorry,
the
mate.
pod, it
Sat
was
here,
like,
we've DP'd this fake vagina.
We have. Let's get that on
ammunition.
camera real quick. This is
yeah.
this is Nathan's handiwork. Just joking, Corey. Not sure if you can see, but there's a fucking shotgun shell in here. We'll just pull that out. There you go.
Smell it.
And then, hang on.
Smells rubbery.
And then there's Creedmoor around there.
Mm-hmm.
And time to put them back in.
Yep. That thing is going to have like everything on this table shoved up it by fucking the end of the episode.
When are you
More
going to put
than
your dick in there?
You know, by the end, before the end. Nah, unbanned. I'll put it. I'll do it there.
Yeah, I don't think I want to be here for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So what's everyone been up to on their break?
Well, I just got back from Victoria,
Yeah.
fighting the good fight for liberty lovers over there at the recent state election. Didn't go as well as we thought, but it's a hard slog, and we did get one Lib Dem back in. I do represent the Liberal Democrats in my spare time, but yeah, trying to fly the flag of freedom in Australia still, doing what I can, and now I'm back in Perth, and I don't know what I'm going to do next.
I feel like you always say that.
No,
You're
every
always
time
like, I don't know
come
what
on
I'm
here,
doing.
I don't know. Something will manifest. I'm not worried.
That's pretty surprising. You're talking about Dan Andrews' re-election,
Yes.
that election.
Yes.
How the fuck
So,
did that cunt get back in? I
I'm
think we
a-
talked about it, but holy shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Weren't the numbers like quite substantial as well?
Yeah. And then you got to like watch yourself from trying to be like the US ones where you just election deny as soon as it doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, you got to think about it. Like, fuck, there must be something going on with that cunt. So,
Well, there was some sort of chicanery and a bit of stuff. You know more about it than I do about the Glenn Drury stuff and how they manipulated the anti Dan Andrews vote to split it.
There's
oh, okay.
also-
So, but they use like legal avenues to do all these kind of
it's
things, don't
completely
they? Yeah.
above board in the electoral system, but the system is
yeah.
rigged against the minor parties to begin with. But Labor, like Victoria has been a safe Labor state for the last 50 years. So to get a 3.5% swing against the Labor Party in the current context, and particularly after the federal election result where there was such a big swing towards the Greens and the Labor Party, it's not all doom and gloom, but unfortunately it's just not enough for us to get more people representing people who value liberty in Australia. So the fight continues.
So was it like, did you have more representation than before the election, or
We had two before and we had one after because of a lot of
split.
minor party problems going on. Like we don't work together at the best of times, so that also comes into play, which is disappointing for the people who value liberty. But back
that is a
in-
problem? That was a
Yes.
problem back in the fucking protests and all that shit as well.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
everyone who was like wanting to jockey for control.
Yeah,
and,
there was. Yeah, it's just natural human sort of progression to do that, right? Doesn't matter what it is. It's like rather than all these people coming together and doing this protest, there was the same thing. People jockeying to see what they can get out of it, and
And positioning for power.
power, yeah.
And who wants to be the speaker at the event. And, you
Yeah.
know, and then you went and you saw the speakers at those events, and I was like,
yeah,
it made us all look bad.
Except for me, thank you very much.
It
I
was
spoke at
like,
those
well, I didn't see you speak, but for me, I was just like, it only takes one person licking the window on the bus to make the whole bus look retarded. And that's
I
what
love
happened.
the term window licker. That's my favourite.
don't you?
So fucking
Don't you
good.
window liquor on terms that need to come back?
Yeah, done.
Don't you need to, because we've got to start the list again.
And biffing. Please put biffing
Biffing,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, biffing, bit of biff. I forgot what I was going to say.
So
now.
here's a funny story. So the last time I was on here, my appearance on this podcast ended up as part of a misconduct restraining order application in the magistrate's court from someone we put on the kill yourself list.
What?
What?
Okay.
Really?
Let's hear this,
This is
story.
going to be good.
Yeah. So
Who do we put on the list?
Marcus Canning.
Yeah.
Oh, Marcus Canning.
He was that guy who
I'll bring
made
him
that
up.
statement about me at the Rechabite.
Oh, he's the owner of the record bike.
Owner of the Rechabite, right? And I shit you not.
How the fuck did they find this?
But mate, that's how he wasn't interested in me, but he was watching No Man's Land podcast, right? Like,
He's just hate watching
and
everything
he called
you
us
do,
all.
bro.
He called us a bunch of incels. From
Incels?
LA.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Okay.
no
Is this the
shit.
guy?
Tell that to all of Asia that Drew's
No.
constantly like
Yep.
slinging his
That's the guy?
dick through
Yeah,
every
that's
fucking
him.
6 months.
This guy.
He should kill it. If
Yeah.
anyone should be called an incel, it's this cunt. Look at him.
Yeah, well, you know, he's the first entrant to the fucking kill yourself list now.
Yep. What's his
we don't
name
want to
again?
get
Marcus
we don't want to get you another lawsuit.
Marcus Canning. Well, yeah, the application said he has been trolling me on social media and something about hanging out with his incel mates.
Ugh, okay.
Ah.
This guy, if anyone looks like an incel, who would you fucking say looks like an incel?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, and it's always like, and the male feminists are the ones who you have to fear. Like women, it's not the guy who disagrees with you that you have to worry about. It's the man who agrees with you all the time.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
just, you know, that's their pathway to pussy is ideological conformity.
That's
Being
it.
a doormat. Like they've got
The
no
old pussy
game aside
pathway,
from
eh?
fucking mimicry. And
Yeah.
it's the same tactic pedophiles use. It's disarming. It's grooming.
I'm ashamed to admit.
So he's a
that
groomer. That's what you're saying.
I'm
I'll say
ashamed
it, you don't have to.
admit I have been fooled by that trick before by someone who said they were a libertarian, but they were really an ethno-nationalist. So
Whoa, that's a big
yeah,
difference.
Did you fuck him?
No comment.
Ah, that's a yes. So hang on. So you end
And
up
when
in
he started-
court about this.
Yeah, he applied for a misconduct restraining order while the courts are overflowing with women who actually need restraining orders.
Yeah, so you appealed obviously,
He-
and then it
No,
ended
no,
up
the
in
court, the
What does that-
magistrate
Oh, it went
told
straight
him,
to court?
No, the magistrate said you need to go and get legal advice, Mr. Canning. You don't have any grounds. Well, she
Hold on.
didn't say that.
He got a restraining order,
applied for one.
and he's calling us incels.
Yes.
Yeah. He tried. We should take him to court.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should.
You're defaming me.
We've already been fucking threatened a few times with legal stuff, but it's usually by
Oh,
retards.
that wasn't a
don't know,
threat, though.
Don't know what they're talking about.
That chick who threatened us, we made a joke about her having a miscarriage, and it was in very poor taste, but it was still funny as fuck.
It was hilarious.
I'm glad you got the grace to admit it was in poor taste, but it was still
100%.
funny, you know?
Yeah, too. I'm self-aware. but she was like, I'm going to sue you guys, and then just radio silence. It's
Yeah.
like, well, you need the fucking money too.
Well,
and
she needed the
you
money
don't
for
have the
fucking
money
crack,
or the
that's
fucking
why.
time. You know, like
She
yeah.
can't do both. So yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
half
fuck.
her money goes to bikies anyway because she's a fucking tattoo artist. So
Oh right.
good luck with that.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of tattoos, can we please talk about my experience in Scarborough last night?
Oh,
Because
yes.
I'm still
The floor is
livid.
yours.
I'm still livid. So when I was in Melbourne, I got my face tattooed. It's a little tiny love heart. I don't think it's offensive. I think it's cute.
I'm offended by it. Can you
Cute.
cover it
Yeah,
up?
I don't really
Cute.
know how it would be offensive.
Cute but tough is the look I was going for. And I was frequenting a Scarborough establishment last night, and I was.
We got to name and shame him.
I was entering the venue, and I was wearing a "See You in the NT" singlet, which is basically cunt. And he jokingly said, "You can't come in because of your offensive shirt." Just joking, so I was already a little bit on edge. But I was like, haha, that's so funny. Thank you, Mr. Bouncer, for letting me in. And then within 5 minutes, he approached me and said, can you please put this Band-Aid over your tattoo because it will offend people and it's linked to our liquor licensing. So we can't have people with face tattoos in this venue.
Oh,
unless
Is
you
that part of the
cover it up."
anti-biking laws?
Well,
yeah, it might be. Well, face
as far
tattoos
as
seems
I
to be a
understood,
problem.
it was actual biking insignia that you couldn't display.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
But last I checked, a love heart is probably one of the purest tattoos you can get.
Well, pure
And
image
the,
anyway.
And the fact that it's just tiny on my face.
Maybe he's
and I was
offended
told
because
I
he's an
had to
incel
leave.
and you clearly understand love. Was it Marcus Canning? Was he the bouncer? He sees you, he's just like, I'm jealous, get out.
The worst thing is that it made people more fearful of me because they didn't know if I was hiding like a teardrop tattoo.
Yeah.
Like I'd
True.
killed somebody.
Yeah.
So I was getting lots of male attention for different. I think they were like terrified but mesmerized at the same time by my
good tactic.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Weird. The thing with that as well is that Scarborough is full of like tattooed people. Like
Yeah,
head
fucking
to
oath it
toe tattooed, man.
Yeah.
Someone walked past
So-
with the full head tattoo, but they didn't have to put a hat on.
Yeah,
But
see
I have
this
this tiny
oh,
little tattoo.
that
on
was my next
face.
question was did
Yes.
anyone else
How
there
do-
have face
and up
tattoos?
to their neck. I
Yeah,
have
so
neck
that's
tattoos
fine.
too, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like just a tiny one on the face. I could have drawn that on with.
Is it
an
is it
Oh,
eyeliner.
just
no,
the
yeah.
face or is it like any tattoo?
It was just the face.
Okay.
Like as I said, someone with a head tattoo and a full neck tattoos
Mm,
walk
yeah.
past freely, and I'm walking around. Lady Liberty is walking around with a Band-Aid on her face.
If you want
You
to go and take a
conformed.
bath with me,
Someone did put "Hot in Here" by Nelly on it while I was there. So
but it's the least offensive face tattoo I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what's threatening or violent about it? I mean, maybe if you had like a succession of little love hearts, you know,
of
like
all the hearts I've broken,
yeah, all the
Just
men.
names underneath it, lines to them, mate.
face would be covered.
You'd be Dane Brakovich.
But what about like the bikies? They can't even go in with any tattoos, can they? If it's bikie related,
I think it's
they're
just
fucked.
insignia, like Kate was saying, because that's what happened to fucking our mates.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
did,
in the pub.
Yeah.
Because a couple of them are like sworn in, but they fucking, I don't think they're a part of it anymore, but they've got the fucking tattoos. And I think they were the first ones to cop a fine when that new law came in, I believe. But
Yeah, that's right.
Josh
Yeah.
knows the story better because he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
What a fucking joke, eh? Like, what's that got to do with anything? Having a tattoo.
well, what I was going to say before as well is that like we used to hang out at Amps and play gigs and
God
stuff.
bless.
And fucking, dude, all the goth chicks would go there and like they would draw upside down crosses on their face. Not a fucking problem. I'll come in all good. Like, I don't see the issue with tattoos or facial tattoos. Like, personally, I wouldn't do it. But
Yeah.
I don't see why you're then not a member of society who can't go into a fucking pub.
Well, I have worked in 3 Parliament houses, including recently in Victoria, walking around to meetings with ministers with this tattoo, and it's never been a problem,
Yeah.
except for going to Oceans in Scarborough. So I apologise.
Ocean 1.
I apologise to the people of Oceans in Scarborough for offending you with my.
Is that
face
01?
tattoo.
Oceans 1?
Oceans, yeah.
That's fucked.
Hasn't
I'll
someone
tell
been
you a
killed
story.
there? I don't know.
I was 19 and I had sex with like a 45-year-old woman in the disabled toilets.
Yeah.
So I don't think a Band-Aid is going to fix the problems they have with that establishment.
That is a great story. Can you elaborate on
can.
that for us?
So she was a marriage counselor and she was married.
And she was seeking some counselling from a 19-year-old boy in the disabled toilets.
She
in
certainly
Oceans.
was. I was like, I can help you out with your problems. No, it was a fucking weird night. We were there with mates drinking and we got chatting with her and she was there with some of her friends, but they were friends of her husband's. And then I used to have really long hair and I looked a bit like Meatloaf and a lot of people used to like say that I look like Meatloaf and I think that's what worked for me that night. So she was like, fuck, you look just like Meatloaf, rah, rah. And I was like, oh, I'll roll with that, not a problem. And yeah, I got a number on the back of her fucking marriage counseling fucking company card. But that was after we hooked up in the toilets. But I got bailed out by a mate. He came in and he was like, there's like 8 dudes like looking for you. So the mates, when we walked off, her hubby's mates fucking went and rallied the boys. So I had to get like snuck out.
But you're not the bad guy in that situation.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? You know, they're going to go after
Bash
me,
a
not her.
19-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
I am the bad guy in this situation for having this face tattoo.
Yeah, but you should have known that before you got it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Another poor life choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah,
I don't know.
it's so dumb, man. The whole tattoo thing's so fucking stupid. Like,
But that's been
It's-
around for
it's-
quite a while. Like I remember even back in the day when I was like 20-something going to bars, they did that. If people had heaps of tats,
That's
they
fine. If it's the private property that's putting in that rule, that's fine. That's their business. They can set whatever rules they
I
like.
don't know about that because it
That's-
starts getting into that sort of
Well, you just choose to
discriminatory
go elsewhere.
based on race or something area. Kind of, it's not race, but like you know that it's at that level.
it's
It's
discriminatory.
like whatever you wear, or I mean, within reason, it shouldn't be a problem. Like it starts being discriminatory.
The thing is, though, you're not working for them, right? You're just attending the place. If you're working for them, they had an image they wanted to sell, fine. You don't fit the type, move on, next person, whatever. But like, so many people now are so heavily tattooed. Like all the football fucking players are. It's so
Everyone
common.
who works FIFO.
Yeah, exactly. And like, just what they're dirty people because they dig in the dirt. Like, is that why it's
No.
okay for them to have it?
It's
Like,
funny, though.
It's such a weird argument.
Tattoos, like when I was young, someone had tattoos, you associated them with being perhaps a motorcycle enthusiast club.
Yeah.
Or some form of criminal
Criminality,
activity.
yeah.
Now, since I got tattoos, like, dude, you're a barista.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's nothing hardcore
You
about
froth
you. You know,
me.
you've got simp tattooed on your forearm. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's true. They've definitely lost their fucking edge. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Tattoos. They don't. But someone was talking about this the other day. Like, they were saying that because everyone has tattoos, because everyone does all these things that used to be considered risky, they're not risky anymore. So to be risky, kids are becoming like full religious, you know, not extremists, but like Christian religious to be the
that's the
extreme.
new counterculture.
That's the new
Yeah.
counterculture.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
insane.
you know, it just goes in circles, I guess. But like, yeah, tattoos are no longer risky, so they have to find something else.
Didn't we talk about this before we went on break? I think where it's
might have.
like because everyone's gone so fucking wild and everyone's like, I'm a tree and I have sex with dogs and that's who I am and that's my identity. That the people are seeing this and being like, fucking, this is normal. I want to rebel. Are like, yeah, I believe in God and I do like the rosary bead fucking sessions and shit.
Well, I think it's because it's easy to sort of see the world through a lens of good and evil. You know, it's very easy to paint this gender ideology and all its discontents as some sort of satanic culture. So remember when the Islamic extremists were accusing us of being a morally decadent satanic culture, and it's now it's like there's a pet hotel in North Perth and you can choose your gender, and it's like, well, they kind of had a point. Yeah, you know, like, we are a morally decadent culture. Satanic.
Is your
maybe not.
solution to this problem bring in the Muzzies in?
No.
Just bring him in.
No, no. But I do think
Sharia law.
there are kernels of truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there
they're like
definitely are.
Andrew Tate in a sense, right?
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
kernels of truth wrapped up in a message that most of us can find pretty repugnant and
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
a fucking
distasteful.
douchebag, but
Yeah, he is. Anyone that calls himself
top.
top G, like if you call yourself top, you're a fucking douche.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you just are.
He's a douche because he values money and status
Okay.
over everything else,
100%.
and that's why
How
I
old
fucking
is he,
can't
though?
stand it. Because he's like, if you're a millionaire or you say you're going to get rich, go fucking do it. Stop fucking. And it's just like, I'm sure there are heaps of people that tried and are now paying off massive bank
Yeah.
loans for the rest of their lives.
Because if hard
they
work
got
was the
fucked
sole
over.
determinant of luck, the richest woman in the world would be some African farmer who's raising 5 kids on her own.
100%.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the same thing with like music and art. Like if it was based off how hard and how much skill you put into it, it would be completely flipped on its head.
Yeah.
There'd be no pop musicians around. It'd be like one.
Yeah,
That's all there would be.
yeah,
So there'd be all these weird ass jazz fucking dudes that can just smash it, you know?
yeah.
But
So,
that's not the way it is.
are you going to go back to Oceans or probably not? What's the plan there? What's your plan of attack
Look,
in
I didn't
regards
want
to
to
that?
be there in the first place. I was just there to
Lies.
meet a friend. So I don't intend on returning to that establishment anytime soon until I get my next face tat.
Yeah, and then go back with 2 band-aids on.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart.
I'm all about balance.
Until you're just walking in and you just got a whole band-aid over your
Then what are
face.
they
Just
gonna
walking
do?
with a paper bag on, just be like, I'm here.
Well, that's
Is
a
this
good-
okay?
That's
I'd
actually
still probably
fair.
be the hottest chick there.
That's a fair comment though. What if someone has like a big face tattoo? You can't stick a band-aid
Or
on.
their eyes tattooed. Have you seen the people? The guy who did my face tattoo had his eyes tattooed, like his eyeballs. So
fuck?
what's he meant to do then?
Have you not heard of that, Drew?
I mean, I
That's
think
like
so. I didn't know it was that
next level
popular.
hectic.
That-
That's
that's-
next level hectic.
That shit to me just screams, I want to lose my
But
eyesight.
you know what? He
Yeah.
was the
Like,
nicest man
I want to
I've
be
ever met.
blind in 2 years.
He was the nicest, God-fearing man I've ever met, and he just looked a little bit disconcerting.
Yeah.
There are girls that have their eyebrows tattooed.
Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
another point I made to my dear friend Corey, is that these chicks have their eyebrows tattoos and their lips outlined with tattoo, but they could walk around just fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
because it's normal. Because those things were
Consider-
already there. And it just looks like it's still just there.
Well, maybe my heart was already
Say
up
it's a
here, I
birthmark.
just-
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I was actually going to say this is a representation of my culture and my people. You know, like the Maori women who have their face tattooed.
Are you
This is
Kiwi?
just well, you know, maybe I was last night. we can pick and choose
Just
our
walk in and be like,
identity every
"Tabu."
day.
I've come to sing some pussy. I love the Kiwi accent, especially when it's on like the biggest fucking moldy you've ever seen in your life.
It's so funny.
And he
isn't it?
sounds like an 8-year-old boy, and it's just, but he could beat you to death.
Yeah, they could.
So
I had
fast.
an experience like that. So I work at I won't say where every year, but I had to go to this warehouse and pick up some stock. And I've walked
That
in.
doesn't sound dodgy.
And he's just like this big Kiwi guy, and he's just like to the back of the freezer, and he won't use the forklift for me. He's like, "Have you got a trolley?" I was like, "No." And he goes, "Why did they send the smallest, weakest one on the crew with no trolley, bro?" He just roasted me. It's so funny.
I used to
We're
work with
good for that,
about,
eh?
about 5 Kiwi guys. The company was owned by a Kiwi dude. And at lunchtime, this is what I'd be eating. They'd have this fucking hungy, you know, that hungy stuff. Fuck me, like literally a fucking massive plate like this, and there's like 5 of them, and I'm like sandwiched in like this, and there's this massive dude just fucking, you want some bro? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll check with my just sandwich, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
I,
stuff.
the
Huge.
first Marys I came across on like a job site, they went to Coles and came back with like a chicken each and a loaf of bread each, and they just made chicken sandwiches with mayo until the bread and the chicken was gone, each of them. And I was just like, that's way too much food.
How the fuck?
It's like 8 chicken sandwiches, bro. It's
How
so
the fuck,
fucking many.
How the fuck did they develop that? I mean, I'm not like, how the fuck did they evolve to be so fucking strong and big? Like, I don't understand it. You're on an island.
Well,
Like-
they fought the British when our Indigenous didn't, so it started back when they were invaded. They
Oh, that's
had
that's
true.
right.
Our
Each other.
Indigenous did fight in certain places, certain people.
Against Australians?
Yeah.
You mean? I mean,
Yeah,
against English?
Janamara and
But
Yagan.
before
Yeah, they
all
did.
that,
There
the
was-
Maoris were fighting each other.
Yeah.
They fought each
but
other.
what I'm
Dude,
saying is,
so-
what is the genetics behind the fact that
I
they're-
think it's the landscape. So,
Okay.
have you been to New Zealand? Have you seen like
I
how
haven't been.
the
No.
train's rugged as fuck, bro? Like
Yeah, okay.
it's like
Well, you're just
mountainous.
walking up fucking mountains
It's Lord
all
of the
day.
Rings.
and
it's Lord of the Rings.
and it's also
territory.
a lot of it's like obviously not so much the deep south of it, but like the middle. It's very tropical. So if you want, you can like stay in one area and just survive off what's around you. And I think a lot of them did, and then they warred with other tribes. So I think maybe they were just big because of
Maybe because of the weather as well. If it's very
Yeah.
cold, right? So you need to have more body fat, even though it's not
And
fat.
maybe a high protein diet, like the megafauna went extinct in New Zealand as well as here, you know, but dodo birds as well. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're eating a heap of protein.
Yeah. Yeah,
Look
I
at
guess
South
so.
Africans, man. South Africans are enormous too.
That's true.
Oh, actually, Geraldton. I went to Geraldton over Christmas to catch up with my misso's brother, and everyone in Gerald is tall as fuck, like really tall. And they say that there's something in the water. They reckon there's heaps of calcium in their water. And I actually drank some of the water. You can fucking taste it. And I reckon they generally say that like kids that grew up there, like just they're monsters, and they are. Like there was these women walking around. I was just like, oh, like she's like 6'4".
I'm not
She's
going to
fucking
Geraldton to
huge.
meet a woman.
Oh, you won't get any pussy in Geraldton, bro. Sorry.
It's funny tap water. Like I mean, when I was in Melbourne, the tap water tasted so much better than the tap water here.
Better.
Yeah.
Well, Adelaide, it's third world quality water, so please don't drink the tap water
it
when you
really?
go to Adelaide for
Really?
the fringe. Yes, it is fucking terrible.
Really?
Okay.
You cannot drink tap water in Adelaide, South Australia.
Oh,
Really?
fuck. Tell you one thing you notice is
But
when
I
you.
turned out okay. I drank rainwater.
Okay. If you say so.
Yeah, sure.
I just got my
that
face
does that
tattooed.
does explain a few things. The tap water, yeah. One thing you notice if you go like when you're in Asia, a lot of time you just drink bottled water, right? Because you don't want to get sick. Even though they say that most places now the water quality is good enough, unless you go to some fucking country town or something. But at one time I did 1 year of that, and the first thing I did when I come back was like, oh, that's right, I can drink from a tap again. And I drank some, I could taste like the
Everything.
chemicals in it straight away. I was like, oh, this tastes horrible. Like, what the fuck? It's because I hadn't tasted it for so long.
Yeah. It's all the
Really nice.
chlorine, eh?
I've got to put
I
my
guess so.
Josh hat on. They're poisoning us with the tap water. There's something in the tap water. They're using it to control our minds. Everybody stop drinking tap water. There you go, Josh. I love you.
That's
The
something like what he was
vaccines
saying.
in it, eh?
A mate of mine told me a story. So he was a plumber working on the Perth Children's Hospital, and because they hadn't factored in how much more pressure was going to be going through the plumbing to supply the hospital, it stripped out the lining of the pipe, and all the pipe was old, so it had lead in it.
Oh, fuck.
So his job
In a
for
hospital.
children's hospital for 3 months, his job was to go in there and turn the taps on every day on the floor and just let them run, just let the fucking lead run through it.
What,
And then they fucking drink out of it.
on. So they don't replace the pipes.
No,
They
fuck
just,
that, that's
just
a-
run
that's a
the
sh-
water for 10 minutes.
yeah, just let it run
That's
in a
fucked up.
children's hospital.
That's the most simplistic solution to a problem
Yeah.
I've ever heard.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
That's almost as bad as vaccinating people with a vaccine that doesn't do anything.
No, it causes myocarditis.
Oh, yeah, it does that well.
do something.
Certainly
something,
does.
yeah.
And it does upset women's menstrual systems too, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So,
All right, that's another one.
thanks, Big Pharma.
Are you telling me that we can't trust Big Pharma? But they create such great drugs like OxyContin that have no backlash
And
whatsoever.
fentanyl.
Yeah, fentanyl's a good one, eh?
I've never tried it.
Neither. I know. Actually, someone was telling me they had it recently. I think it was.
Was it Josh in America?
No, it was. I think it was Jess's brother, my partner's brother. He was saying that he had an accident, and because his mum is she was an ambo, paramedic, and so she actually gave him some. But it's like you're talking micrograms, and like if you fuck up by 1 microgram, it'll fucking kill you. It's a crazy drug.
That's the thing that's like a street drug in America. It's not here, is it?
It's not. Well, it's actually a pharmaceutical drug, but they
Yeah.
raid fucking pharmacies for it, steal it, and then cut it into their heroin. And then if they fuck it up, like 100 heroin addicts in a certain area will just drop dead, and all the cops are like, "Yep, bad batch."
But
And
it's also
very
a
common.
legal product because the Pharmacy
Very
Guild
similar to the vaccine
of
as
the
well.
United States is more powerful than the National Rifle Association in terms of its lobbying power.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, okay.
there's more money in it.
more money,
Yep.
more control.
It was one of the first things Bill Clinton did when he got into office was remove the prohibition on pharmaceutical companies advertising on television.
Really? Fucking hell! I wonder how much he made from that.
Yeah, well, it's to look back on it now and see how it's all panned out. You've kind of got to, it's humbling, isn't it, to see how much power those industries had or
Yeah.
have.
They still have it. to a
Makes you
degree.
feel insignificant sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
the fact that our government signed waive liability for the vaccine here, so we can't sue them, is horrendous because now the taxpayer has to pay for anything that goes wrong when it came to those vaccines because our government waived liability. I mean, if that doesn't smack of big pharma profiteering off a virus, I don't know
yeah.
what will.
Yeah. But also, it just
how much
just admits that they know that it was fucked as well.
Well, the
They're like, "We
contract
don't
was
know what this
secret.
is." Yeah.
That's the hallmark of all impropriety is secrecy. And it's like, if we can't see what's in it, like in the contract and the vaccine, how does that instill confidence in anyone? And that was the really moment for me where it crystallized, like, no, this is bullshit. When the contract was leaked and it was largely secret, it's like, no. And that was in the ABC.
Yeah.
And then, I had people go, oh, you cooker. It's like, mate, a secret contract. Like, if
Fucking
that-
cooker.
Yeah.
I'm sick of that fucking word
It's
already.
like, what's fucking wrong with you?
Yeah.
There's still people like that.
Well,
now.
it's like all the fucking lefties that I know and went to uni with, and even through mates from stand up, like 10 years ago, they were all anti-big pharma. They were anti-war, and this inversion of left-wing ideology. It's been a classic bait and switch. Like if you put a rainbow flag on it, or a Black Lives Matter, or some sort of trendy fucking feel-good heebie-jeebie political assessment that goes with it, they're on board.
Yeah.
And they don't see the ideological schizophrenia about it. And to me, I just find it breathtaking that they can't even see it.
Yeah.
They still can't know.
it's-
And they won't look at the
Concerning, yeah.
evidence. They won't look at the evidence, or they'll
Well, they're
try and explain.
hypocrites. They're a bunch of fucking hypocrites.
Yeah.
And when you try and get them to articulate it, they can't. They just
Yeah.
accuse you
No.
of being selfish.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing.
You're
you know?
killing me. You're
I-
killing
you're
my
killing-
nan. It's like, I'm not
You don't
killing
even go
anyone.
visit your fucking nana anyway. Don't just place that on me.
Yeah, you just put her in a fucking home and haven't seen her in 7
But
years.
It's like funny the way people want to retreat into, because it's beyond a reasonable doubt now, right? That we were sold a very big, destructive, expensive lie. But people want to retreat into the lie because it gives them comfort.
Yeah, that's what it
Because
is.
it absolves you of responsibility. You don't
Yeah.
have to do anything if you believe in the lie. And I know people who use their kids to win arguments on Facebook. You know, it's like when you got the 7-year-old vaccinated. And imagine the guilt you would feel as a parent now.
Yep.
The psychological defenses you would be constructing in your own mind to prevent that truth coming to you. It'd
Yeah.
be so hard to accept.
No one wants to accept that the government could do what they've done to people.
I don't know
it's much
why.
easier to blame. Well, Jordan Peterson actually said this about the Canadian guys and the truckers, because everyone was turning on the truckers. A lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, because they have to, in their mind, they have to come to terms with. They've got two options. They can shit on the Canadian truckers and say the government did the right thing, or they can side with the Canadian truckers and go, okay, the government fucked me. And it's easier to shit on the little man, right?
Yeah.
Than think that you were fucked over. So they all just started shitting on the protesters, the fucking truckies.
No one wants to have their illusions shattered.
No, they don't, and people still don't now. And it's just amazing now. Like those people literally have turned. And we've said it millions of times, but they're the cookers.
Yeah.
They literally are the cookers now. If you still think that vaccinating a 7-year-old is a good idea, you're a fucking cooker for sure.
Changing tack slightly, I'm curious to know what you guys thought of this shooting in Queensland with the Train brothers and the
Oh,
wife.
fuck.
Is this the one
In near
where they
Chinchilla,
shot
way
the
over and they
cops?
shot the copper and the neighbour, because soon as
It's
that story
such a
came out,
weird
I was
story.
just like, look, because that's in the middle of gas country. And I don't know if you've seen the aerial photos of that part of the world, but there are coal seam gas wells littered across the land, like scars on the landscape. And what was once Australia's food bowl, you know, it's some of the most productive agricultural land in the country. And we fucking butchered it for coal seam gas. And you look at where that property was, and it was right in the middle of that.
Really?
And
That's
a lot
interesting.
of people got radical. Well, I mean, you found this strange political alliance a few years ago between farmers and greenies on the coal seam gas issue. You know, lock the gate, and for the first time, you saw those political powers coalesce. And I wondered initially, you know, it was like, because you know what would have radicalized me is if a gas company had come onto your property and said, hey, turns out you don't own anything underneath the soil. Here's an agreement.
Yeah.
This is a very disproportionate sort of negotiation because we have all the power, we have all the insight. You can't commission a third party to give you any expertise. And you might get health. That would radicalize me. Then you put the vaccine on top of that.
Yeah.
So, well, you know,
Yeah.
the landscape, like the trains, like the coppers, has a lot of holes in it, if you ask me.
I didn't know that aspect. Josh has got definitely a few viewpoints on it.
Yeah. I just found the whole thing to be very odd.
Well, it
The
turns
whole
out
story
that the
was odd.
guy had a warrant out. One of them, the main guy, had a warrant out for his arrest. So it wasn't a simple just go there to checks, whatever the fuck they said that they were going to do. Like,
Remember the Lint Cafe guy? He was on
yeah.
bail.
Yeah.
was he?
He was on bail.
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, yeah.
And can you imagine how that situation with the Lint Cafe would have turned out if just one person had been armed
Yeah.
in that cafe?
Well, how's that fucking woman the other day that interrupted two people stealing shit in her house and they murdered her? How's
Well,
that?
as I've said before, it's a disgrace that we have no self-defense
Yeah.
rights in Australia, which is
Yeah.
why
I mean,
I'm
at
proud
least
advocate
inside
for
your fucking
self-defense.
house.
Yes.
You know, because like
Castle
I could
doctrine.
see how, and you were talking about, I could see how if you had a big property, the league, and like say in the US, and someone comes on it and you legally shoot them, it's like it's a bit iffy. Because what if they just went, oh, I want to take a shortcut, or maybe I saw something on the property or whatever. But if it's actually in your house, clearly they're only in there for one reason.
Yep.
They had to get in there somehow, and you didn't talk to them.
Yeah.
And they're in there. So
And the doors were fucking locked and they broke in.
yeah.
Like,
So it's a no-brainer, right? At that point, you should be able to fucking.
we have the dumbest laws with shit like that here, though. Like the whole fact that you can be held accountable if someone breaks into your property and hurts themselves. That's on you as the homeowner because your property isn't safe
Isn't that-
for the people trying to burgle it.
Yeah. Okay.
You piece of shit. Like what?
We're a defenseless people in Australia. When I say this in my podcast in America, they can't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
I
born
bet
with
they
the
can't.
right to defend themselves. And what are we born with? We don't even have the right to travel between the colonies if there's a pandemic declared.
Yeah.
I like
I
the way
couldn't
you
go
were.
across the border for 2 years
Yeah, no, it's disgraceful.
in my own country.
Yeah.
I will never forgive.
We
and I'll
couldn't
never
even leave the
forget.
fucking metro or Peel
That's
regions
right,
for a while
yes,
as well.
Yeah, that's right. They
That was
divided
fucked.
it. down.
Yeah.
Intrastate borders, remember that?
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. That's right. I forgot about that.
And that-
they were
that
just
leads to the
dividing
whole
it down
fucking-
to
yeah.
it was like you get 1 meter square.
That's
You
why they were
can't go
talking
out
about
of that
this
meter
whole
square.
20-minute city
Yeah,
bullshit.
now they're doing that
It's
shit.
like, were they trying to say, have you heard about this?
Yeah, smart cities.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you only need to be within 20 minutes, like outside that. You have no reason to go there. It's like, tourism? Heard of it? Like, you
Or
wanted to
work.
die? Like,
What if your work is fucking 30 minutes away, which everyone here in
all
Western
about
Australia
control.
it's like
It's
that.
all
what if
about
you like
control.
camping and fishing like I do? Like, where the fuck am I? Like, to be honest, I can go on the river, but like, if I want to go somewhere
That's not
else,
the point.
I
Yeah,
know,
you
but
go
it's
wherever the
not
fuck you want.
Exactly, yeah. It's fucking retarded.
It's crazy. And so you have to apply for a permit to do that. So if you wanted to go
Yeah.
down south, or one any of us,
My folks had to go to Albany. They had to get their fucking G to G. Whatever the
oh,
fuck
back
it's
in the
called.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But unless you're Twiggy's right hand man, the Prime Minister handpicks to lead the COVID Commission,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can fly your helicopter across from Queensland,
Yep.
go to Exmouth, come back for a Labor Party fundraiser, and entirely forget your G2G pass, and then be spared jail. But that poor prick who got in to watch the Melbourne Demons win the grand final.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I mean, he's not a poor prick. He sounds like a wanker by all reports. But if you're going to apply the
Nevertheless.
law equally, it can't be applied
I
one
know.
way to the rich and the well-connected and another way to a Melbourne Demon
Well,
supporter.
they had that in the UK as well, where some fucking senator or MP or whatever they're called, they had the same sort of thing where they're like, here's the boundary line, you can't go past it. And he was like, that shit doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, I'm
And he
the
took his
elite.
family like 4 hours north.
They don't even
And then
pass
no-
the rapscallions.
And like it was headline news for like a minute, and then it was just like,
If
don't worry
people
about it.
don't realize by now that the government doesn't care about you and politicians don't care about you either unless they can use you for taxation or whatever other purpose, like testing a vaccine on you,
Yeah,
well, then there's no fucking hope.
yeah.
Wake up.
I've mused
true.
about this, like how do you wake people up, the ones that haven't woken up now?
You can't.
So, well,
don't
I
think
think,
you can.
like a mandatory magic mushroom policy.
I'm down for that.
Like a double dose of an approved psilocybin variant. And just like, if that can't snap you out of
I'm
the
asleep.
matrix.
Can I try?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm all for it, man. It changes your perspective on the world. It also brings forward a lot of shit you got inside yourself. We've talked about this a fair few times on this pod, and I think it's great. I think it's a really good way to deal with any inner demons you have, because you'll hear a friend who'll try mushies and they'll be like, oh, I had a bad trip. It's like, no, it's not a bad trip. It's that shit that you haven't dealt with yet that's underlying. And all it does is come to the forefront, and it allows you to work through it. So it makes you aware of shit that you forgot about. So, and then once you get rid of those things, then you can start to enjoy yourself. But it's also just changes your perception on the world and how it works. And
I fucking microdosed
good.
the other day and I think I had too much.
well, you said you had half a gram.
Yeah, I had half a gram.
Yeah, a gram's normally enough to have a pretty good time. So when you're like, yeah, I had half of a gram, I was like, oh, that's you're now macrodosing, which
yeah,
I support
close to, yeah.
fully.
I shouldn't be doing that every fucking day.
Yeah.
Not every day, but
Yeah.
I
like,
have not had one sober day this year.
Really?
And that includes cocaine, mushrooms, cannabis, and MDMA.
Fucking
not
nice.
one sober day.
Well, it's only been 5
Oh,
days.
this year,
This
right?
year,
Yeah,
this
sorry.
year,
I
this
was
year.
gonna
That's
say.
still
My
not bad.
whole existence,
Yeah, I was just
haven't
like,
had one sober
well, no, I
day.
was
Have
I
you
thought you were talking
tried
about like
being
last
me?
year, and I was like, fuck that.
Well, I did work on 2 election campaigns, so I was not sober the whole time. I
Yeah,
was
just
in Melbourne.
Dexies, eh?
Apologies, Corey. You met me in Melbourne. It was a very trying time.
You were sober.
Yes, because it was a Monday morning. Actually, I have a bone to pick with you guys. Why did you never introduce me to Corey this whole time?
I didn't
'Cause we
realize
didn't
you were a
get Corey.
fucking service. Sorry.
Yeah, but we couldn't get him on because he does shows every Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday night's been difficult to arrange.
I mean, most of the
has been-
comedians doing shows, so it's hard to get them.
Yeah.
And we do Thursdays as well, so.
Yeah.
We can change though. We can do Wednesdays and
We
whatever.
probably should look into that, but the problem is all our fans expect us to
go on
go live Thursday
yeah.
now. So
Well, true fans would follow you wherever you go.
Yeah.
they would after like a couple of weeks, where they'd be like, oh, they're committed to a new day. But like if we've done it before, we've been like, oh, we can't do Thursday, we'll do Wednesday, and then the live views for that day, like we'll even
Yeah, they
put a
go way
post out
down.
about it, and it's like not even half.
No.
It's like maybe 2-3.
I think Thursday's just a good day in general. People getting close to the weekend. They're more. Josh was saying about this back when we started the first episode, and we were trying to decide which day to do, and then he made a pretty good point, and then we sort of tried every day. Thursday is definitely the go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just stuck with that.
Thirsty Thursday. Thirst Trap Thursday.
Yeah, that's it. Thursday.
Rip
guys
start
need to do
Thursday.
Thursday
more
was my
thirst
drinking
traps.
day, but
More
I'm not
thirst
drinking today
traps.
because I had a pretty rough day.
Oh, okay.
I was just sick.
You have a sick day.
I certainly did.
Got
I woke
COVID
up with
again.
the fucking worst headache, man.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't even know why, because I've been like drinking heaps of Hydrolite at work as well, because it's been hot as fuck.
yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I think just New Year's and Christmas caught up with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that every year, man. Like, especially because my job is sort of one where I have to get shit done before the end of the year, before things shut down. So I'm working fucking 10 hours longer every day leading up to it. I'm not on the tools, but still. And then as soon as that fucking first day of holidays hits, I just crash,
Yeah,
and I'm like out for like 3 or 4 days and just feel like dog shit.
it's once you stop,
Yeah.
You just if you just push through, you're fine. But if you stop,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah. And then you get into the swing of like the holidays, and then you're back to work again.
That's
Not
why.
so
That's
much.
why we need to legalize cocaine, so we can all just do lines of cocaine and fucking get on with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just get fucked up and just keep working.
Think how much of a productivity boost that would give the economy.
So, well, wasn't there like weren't Americans saying or something over there when they legalized weed? They're like, we're making too much money. They were like, actually, like they're like, we don't know
Really?
what to do.
I think
It's
was
too
it
much
one of
cash.
this? Was it Colorado has a certain clause in their constitution where the state's got a surplus, they've got to pay a dividend to the constituents. Didn't that change?
Really?
They changed their constitution as well.
That sounds fantastic. Give the people back their own money.
That's what we should do with the mining royalties. It's like above a certain amount, hey, that's all give everyone a dividend.
Instead, they give it to the government and they do with it what
See,
they like.
fucking Twiggy was
Yeah.
able to go to Ukraine and give $740 million to Zelensky
Oh,
and
yeah.
those cunts.
Why the fuck
What a
are we
joke.
doing that?
What? Why? I mean, isn't fucking 90 billion enough? Like, why the fuck? What? Here's an extra $2. It's fucking ridiculous.
And the debt clock keeps going up and up and up, approaching
Why the-
$1
we're not-
trillion dollars in Australia.
We're not allies with them. We have no.
Ukraine.
We have no fucking yeah. with
I don't think
Ukraine.
anyone that's given them money. Well, they are now, but
they don't. I think I asked my mum. They technically don't have like any allies because they
No, because
they
they're corrupt
asked-
as fuck.
Well, they gave up nuclear power right to be considered independent.
Oh,
that
okay.
was the whole
They
exchange. I
signed
think.
the Budapest Agreement. They had
Yeah.
they gave up their nuclear weapons in exchange for a security guarantee from the other Western countries.
Yeah.
And
So
the lesson here is never give up your nukes.
Never give up your guns either.
That and then also it's like so because they've done that. Why the fuck are we now involving ourselves in a war we're not willing to fight?
Because it's the right
'Cause
thing
it's-
to do.
Is it?
Well, I mean, America's involving themselves, and they're not fighting the war either. It's proxy
Yeah, I know. It's just like
war.
Making good money.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's good. I don't think
I saw a
what
video
Russia's
the
doing
other
is
day.
good. Like bombing people and killing
So-
them isn't good. But
so-
that doesn't mean we need to fucking take all of our resources and just ship them over there.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's winter
we're an
now, right?
island fucking nation.
So it's
for fuck's sake. We need every resource we can have and keep it here.
Oh, yeah. So it's winter now over there, and it must be fucking negative something degrees. I don't even know what it gets to there, but it's fucking cold. And there's videos now of all the Ukrainian soldiers, and they're actually having to go at Zelensky and all the fucking the military leaders because they're not giving them rations, they're not giving them anything, and they're making them stay and
We'll just tough it out.
tough it out. And it's like, well, you got $90 billion. I'm sure maybe fucking some of that could go
it
to a
never
blanket.
goes to the people on the ground where it needs it.
No.
Nah,
It's
God,
caught up
no.
in the corruption of governments. It's just transferring wealth around, and it never gets to the people who needs it.
No, it's the same thing with like the Red Cross and all that. I'm sure some of it gets there, but like, I mean, I just don't think it does. I think it just goes to people's wages. It increases their wages a bit, and it doesn't get where it needs to go.
Yeah.
But $90 billion, I mean, I don't really know how much fucking military fucking helicopters and all this other shit is, but you'd think that would make them fucking pretty fucking ready to go. And
If you can't
beat-
win a war with $90 billion,
Yeah.
you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, like that's the average. Even I can't fathom how much $90 billion
No, you
is.
can't.
No one here can. It's a ridiculous amount of money.
It is.
It,
Yeah.
like, it is actually a retarded amount of money.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
could-
those aircraft are like fucking $200 million each and shit, aren't they? Like the whatever they're up to now.
Which ones?
The US military.
The Joint
aircraft.
Strike Fighters.
Yeah. They're fucking
They're
up
expensive.
there. Yeah,
I mean,
they're up there.
some of the HIMARS system that they, were touting as going to be the game-changing weapon for the Ukrainians. Like those munitions, they're 200 grand a pop
Yeah.
to fire one. You
Yeah.
know? And it's like you want to fire, 30 missiles at a time. Well, you do the numbers, you reckon I have some pretty big costs pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. Defense is an expensive industry.
It's the
It is
oldest
very-
racket in the world.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying that so when these types of wars happen and America gets involved, the manufacturers of the weapons and everything, they will quote based on like they're quoting a job. Well,
Well, it is a job.
it is a
yeah.
job, right? So they quote the job and they're like, this is how much this tanks we need, this is how much fucking rounds we need, this is how much this, and we'll be fine. So they go to the government with the quote and go, this is the quote, this is what we need. And the government said, up. Just keep going up. But no need for it. So technically they produced all this fucking stuff to keep the jobs going, I assume. And the
Yeah.
fucking and so now Ukraine are overloaded with weapons and shit that they're not even going to fucking use.
And let's be honest, if Russia wanted to, they could just take them.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's
so-
fucked. And then people still on Twitter and other places have got their fucking little tag with the Ukraine flag in
Yeah,
it.
they got their rainbow dildo next.
Do you know
to
what I
it.
found so fascinating about that was because Vladimir essentially changed the narrative for COVID and vaccine mandates and passports last year, and it was very swift the way that happened. And the transition with people on the propaganda front and the social media, it was the same pathways, expressing themselves about the vaccine and COVID with the they were doing the same thing but with Ukraine, and the great I support the current thing. It was the same power structure selling the same a different thing, but I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
The morality of the herd was just
But it is, because it's always next to a fucking vaccine. Like it's Ukraine flag, vaccine, LGBTQ flag.
Yeah.
So three.
It's all the
it's
hot
three big.
topics.
It's the top three.
And all it is just it's all virtue signaling bullshit.
It is, eh?
Look how good I am. So
Yeah.
what are you actually going to do about it? Oh, I did something. I put up a photo with all these things on it. Great.
Yeah.
How many followers you got? 2? Awesome.
It's like
Well-
that
well done.
Scene from South Park, who's the PC babies? Who's making the world better? Have a look at you.
The PC Babies episode was probably my favorite that whole season.
That is, I think they're this gold standard of social satire. Those 2 seasons of South Park.
Yeah.
And do you know they're libertarians, the writers of South
Are
Park?
they?
Yes.
Wouldn't be
Those are
surprised.
The Libertarian Party of America.
I don't really know much about the Libertarian Party in America.
Well, it's the same principles as we have here. That's the beauty about my movement. We don't
Yeah.
change based on the thing of the day. So
Yeah.
it's hard to have.
That's wrong of
principles
you. You should change for the
sometimes.
thing of the day because
Oh,
that's what
but
everyone
Yeah.
else
I
is
have
doing.
Principles. Remember
Don't
when
you
I
wanna
first-
fit in?
When I first came on your show and you started firing all these questions, what do you think of that, this, that? And I answered every question because I know it's inherent in me what
Mm.
my view is. I don't need to think, hang on, what's the latest focus group telling me to say today? I just know.
I
it
think
by
the reason
heart.
why we fired the questions at you like that was because I think we had Tash Peterson beforehand, right?
Oh, did
And
we?
she was like this fucking retard that would only go to like skin deep. She wouldn't go beyond it, and like you try and pry, and she would
Yeah.
just shut it down, and she had no
Yeah.
depth to her. So I think
Nah.
when we had someone on who was like willing to actually put forward a case and talk hypotheticals and get into it,
Yeah.
you're like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Jump in the
Around,
deep
find
end.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just breath of fresh air. But going back with Tash Peterson, I did a live debate, use that word loosely. But I saw her go toe to toe with a farmer from out in the Swan Valley.
How'd that
Oh.
go?
And this bloke was, conscripted into the Vietnam War, pig farmer, fucking straight shooter in every sense of the word, and just destroyed her.
Yeah.
And, that she just kept appealing to that emotive language of rape and torture and enslavement. And
Yeah, pre-rehearsed lines.
it's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, hang on. There are animals in this world that have better health care than most of the humans, So I just felt like on the hierarchy of needs.
Well, I
Little
tried
bit
to
off.
sell that when she was here. I was like, all good on your pre-rehearsed lines and shit. But like, if you're going to have such a strong stance, then you've got to be able to back up your shit. So you're falling down so easily when we're questioning it.
Yeah.
You need to work on that. Like, I'm not saying to her you're wrong or right. I'm just saying work on your arguments. If you're
Well-
going to fucking go that hard,
Well, that's what we did, right? We
Yeah.
would try and have a hypothetical with her, and she would just shut it down. No, there's no need to go down there because what I'm saying is correct. And it's like, well, hang on, convince me it's correct.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's the whole point of asking a question.
And you'll get more people
Like,
on your side if you come up with
exactly.
some good arguments.
But she didn't have any. She
No.
just had these like pre-written things, and she's basically a parrot. And then when you went outside of what she could answer, she just like break down like a computer would shut down. That was
It's
it.
I have on good authority she's making a lot of money through her OnlyFans to fund that lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen her puss mungie?
How?
No.
It's
We'll show you.
dude. She
No, thank you. Unless she's showing me consensually or I've paid for it, I don't want to see it.
Well, we did have it on the podcast.
we,
I'm pretty sure.
it was
didn't we?
floating. It's in the what we call it the OnlyFans, which is just a private page on Facebook. And it was floating around in there. I think it was the first picture posted in there.
Is this a
For
picture
someone
of her
that's so-
vagina?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's,
For
it's
someone that's
horrible.
so
You
fucking
know-
vegan, she's got some big meaty flaps.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
to say that.
Put it this way: have you seen the movie Alien? You know the face hugger? That's
Yeah.
her pussy. Would
pretty
you
much,
fuck
yeah.
that? It's gonna lay an egg in you,
I'd
bro,
probably
and then
fuck the
another
alien before
vegan's
I'd
gonna
fuck her,
burst
yeah.
out of your chest and be like, "Release the cows."
For
You know,
some
like-
reason,
The alien comes out, goes, release the cows.
for some,
You're like, "Ah."
can I ask a question?
no.
Was,
course you can.
was it hairless or not? For some
hairless.
reason.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
hairless,
Really?
yeah.
For
Yeah.
some reason, I would have thought it should be
Bushy.
natural.
Yeah, you would think so.
Oh, I had Drew's got the instant recall too. It's just no, bald, mate.
It's
Drew
going
knows
in my
his
fucking
vagina.
brain.
See, I have
Drew knows his
PTSD from her fucking photo, so I've like erased that image out of my head.
yeah.
It is horrible. It's like you know the term ham wallet. It's proper ham wallet. You ever had a Conti roll from a deli? Like a
Love
proper,
'em.
a good Conti
Love
roll,
'em. Yeah.
and all the fucking
The
slime is
mortadella.
spilling
Oh,
out
well,
the edges of the bun.
Yeah.
That's her pussy.
You could have that every day if you were dating it. Continental roll daily.
Melons on.
Spicy.
I can't believe we're just talking about a woman's vagina. So
Don't worry about it. We do
disgraceful.
it just about every episode.
in front of a lady, no less.
Lady
Here we go.
Liberty.
It's the
Lady
predator's
Liberty.
mouth. There you go.
Fangs included.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrendous. I was talking. I was talking to someone the other day about it because they're like, yeah, you had her on the pod, and they're like, she's not very smart, but at least she's good looking. I was like, no, she's not.
I
was
think
like,
she's not too bad looking.
"No, I don't
Everyone's
know."
good looking in the dark.
Fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the like I've had a conversation with her, and so I'm just like,
Oh,
ugh.
yeah.
Oh,
And now-
no, me, you
They-
like women for their brains. I'm
Fucking
so
oath I
proud of
do.
you.
You know when you meet a hot chick and she's an idiot, and you're like, I
That's the
can't
one.
Yeah.
even look at you anymore.
But that's the whole like the scale factor. It
Yeah.
has to include that as well, right? It's
Yeah.
not just based on look. Like, if you to be a 10, you have to have some intelligence about you as well.
Yeah, and a good
You
personality.
can't be super hot and a fucking idiot. You're not going to be a 10.
Yeah,
You'll be a
or
9.
like a bitch. Like if you just help
or a
cunt.
bitch, yeah.
It's just like, nah, you're a 2. Like
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
That's what I find so horrible about Andrew Tate's philosophy. You know, it's just like the fact that women are just purely there for sex and there's no
Yeah.
like banter or conversation. They can't offer anything cerebral. I think
Yeah.
it's just such a horrible message for young men in particular to hear. And he's fucking cutting through. Like, that's what's
Yeah,
the
he is.
scariest thing about it for me.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to live in a world where there's a bunch of fucking young men raised on Andrew Tate and women raised
Yeah.
on Clementine Ford and there's no middle ground. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I know.
Like,
no one's
I-
fucking
I-
anymore. Like,
I
think
don't
about-
want to be there. I mean,
think
it's going to
about-
be hilarious, but it's also going to be dystopian
Yeah, it
and
will be
tragic,
hilarious.
you know?
Maybe
Think about the
hilarious if it
guys
was
that
like a
he's
small
appealing to as
population.
well, because they're the guys that are generally incels, kind of like, or they're not very attractive, maybe, or they're just a bit nerdy or whatever. So he's literally got from one extreme to the other. He's the one extreme, and he's sort of the thing they're looking up to because he's banging heaps of birds and he's got heaps of money. And then they're the complete opposite, and they're going to try and be like him and fail miserably. They just are. It's like, how about just working on your conversation and
it's worse than that though. It supports people. Remember that kid that we had on the pod? I forget his name. The one who had that like full speech in his car, and he went and shot up a frat house, or was going to because no woman would fuck him.
Yeah, what was his name?
It supports people like him to go and do what they're going to do.
Yeah, pretty
because
much.
Tate's like, go out, get whatever you want, rah, rah, and they're going to attempt it, and they're going to fail miserably, and then they're going to lash out with violence because they don't know anything else.
It's like those dating coaches. Like, does anyone ever succeed doing one of those dating coach things? I don't think they do, because they're taking people that are just generally not good at speaking to a group of people or one-on-one even, and then just putting them in these situations where they have to. And I know doing it is going to make you better at it, but they're never going to be as good as the fucking guy that does it all the time and he's actually got some charisma in that.
The dating thing's weird though, man, because like if you're, let's say you're in your like late 30s, early 40s, which is normally the age group of people that go on these dating things, or like they hire someone to be like, set me up with
Dating
someone,
crew.
or like, yeah. If you haven't figured out how to have good social interactions and at least like fall in with a crowd and then make connections with these people and then find someone who you can, you know, fall in love with or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it from someone.
Haven't figured it
teaching
out
you-
by 40. It's not
it's
coming
not
at all.
happening. It's not.
No,
no
it's
one
not.
can teach you that. That's something you have to learn on your own.
Yeah.
So
100%.
and you
Yeah,
learn.
that's
You
true.
learn by failing. You say the wrong thing.
Yeah, but,
you feel guilty as fuck. You get embarrassed and shit. And you're like, fucking don't do that again. And then
Yeah,
you
you learn
don't
by
do it
failing,
again.
but some people are just naturally more charismatic and other people are never going to be. It's just the way
That's true.
Like, so
So
you
don't compete
if
with
you're
them.
a dude, yeah. If you're a dude, you got to find your strength, right? When you're growing up, you're like,
Yeah.
what is my strength? You figure it out and you fucking use that. Like, you use whatever you can.
If you do find someone that's like better than you in that respect, that you have two options. You can either like deny it and get away from it, or you can learn from them.
Sure.
You know, it's like you never want to be the smartest person in the room. That goes for any situation, right?
Mm.
If you surround yourself with people that are less than you, you're only going to
Yeah, that's
bring
true.
yourself down to that.
Yeah.
You want to be around people that are going to lift
And
you
now
up.
it was Big D just said, interesting to see what comes out of Tate's arrest because he got arrested.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird, that shit. Like, I don't like the guy that much, but that does seem a bit odd.
They're going after him pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he's done himself no favors in that regard.
Yeah,
My
okay.
favourite quote from him was he didn't describe cheating on his girlfriends as cheating. He calls it exercise. If I'm out cheating, I'm exercising. That's
Really?
okay, but you have to be like honest about polygamy, right? If he wants to be that kind of person, at least have that conversation so you're not being
Well,
deceptive.
I agree, but he's in a position where he can, and it doesn't matter for him. He can do it. If you're a rich, like well-off guy, and not, you know, you don't even have to be that attractive. If you're rich, you can do it, and women will line up.
Well, that's the thing about him.
There are
He's
a
not
particular
particularly
type of
attractive.
women that you probably wouldn't really give much credit to, but
Yeah.
still, if that's what he
Andrew
wants.
Tate is in every essence a prawn. He's got the rudest head, man. Like
100%.
Yeah, like he's got a rig on him because he's fit. He's a fucking
Oh, yeah.
kickboxer.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's a good looking dude from the shoulders down. And then the shoulders up, he's got like buck fucking UK teeth.
And his
Yeah.
bullshit accent. Like,
It's a
and
weird
he's-
accent, eh?
And he's the way he holds his lips when he talks infuriates me. He like talks out of the corner of his mouth. It's I don't know. I can't fucking do it.
I can't
eh?
accept a dude talking about masculinity wearing 3/4 pants with shoes and no socks. So, mate, you are the gayest motherfucker. You're gayer than that dildo right now in 3/4 pants. And any
true.
dude who's talking that much about women is holding a very deep, dark homosexual secret,
Yeah.
in my view.
Well, that's the other thing that I
Probably.
always think about, and he's using that to propel him the whole women thing and how he treats women. I just don't think it's that important.
No.
Like, it's not something that I'm trying to. I mean, I guess if you're a 21-year-old dude, it's pretty important. But like now, it's like, all right, I'll go on a date if it seems like I should go on. I'm not every day going, fuck, I need to bang and fuck, I need to find some hot bitch. Like, it doesn't even cross my mind.
I don't know, man.
I got
Like,
shit to do.
I know more dudes that are less like that than I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know more dudes
But he
that,
seems to
like,
play
even
so
in their
much in-
20s weren't like, we need to go out and fuck. Like, we need to go out and get
Oh
laid
yeah,
tonight.
even yeah.
It's not.
But he seems to place so much importance on that. Like,
It's because he's a shallow douchebag.
Yeah,
'Cause he thinks,
that's what I
he
mean.
thinks money's the most important thing in the world. Then he thinks good pussy is the second most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
And like maybe fighting somewhere in there.
yeah,
But like, yeah, he's got a very traditional mindset, but he's such a wanker about a lot of things. Just
Yeah.
anyone who talks about money like that is a fuckhead, in my opinion.
I agree. What I think is also interesting about Andrew Tate, I'm interested to hear what you have to think or say, is the fact that he's been embraced on such a wide scale. To me, that's a complete rejection of the other narratives or influences in that culture. Like, if young men are embracing Andrew Tate, doesn't that represent a really broad scale failure of your political project for that era? That young men feel they're
yeah,
attracted
it does.
to that.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be put to politics. It's more about their culture and their families and how they were raised. I mean, I was brought up in like a Catholic environment where I get my morals from, and I don't agree with everything in the Bible. And I am a God-fearing woman, but I don't live my life according to the biblical values. Sorry, God. But it's more about how you've been raised, and it's also the decisions that you make.
So it's shitty
you don't
parenting.
you don't have to listen to Andrew Tate to get your moral guidance. There's a plethora of things you can watch.
Well,
and
your
listen
fucking
to.
dad should be the first person to listen to as a mum. male role model
Yes.
if they have a dad.
Yeah, so
That's
it's
the
all
thing.
about choice.
Yeah, that's true. But the one I don't really like, so on the opposite end, like we'll go through that video, that feminist video thing, but that Pearl chick who's very religious, who's American religious. So everything she talks about is very, very traditional. And she wants people to go back to that. And all these people are saying, like, women, you'll be happier if you go back to that. I just don't think that's true.
I didn't realize
think-
she was religious.
Yeah,
So the only things I've seen of her were her just like, I thought some of the shit she was saying was like pretty truthful, but then other parts of it I just thought was just funny because it's such a foreign view. Or it's
Yes.
such an old school view on
Without
that sort
even
of stuff.
watching it, I'm going to disagree because that's collectivist approach. It should be about what makes the individual happy. And those conservative traditional relationships don't make everybody happy. So
No.
don't
That's
true.
prescribe to others in society what you think will make them happy because you don't know.
Well, I guess she's going off like statistics and what she thinks will help solve a problem. Like one of them is they always seem to bring up is how young dudes are not banging, like having sex. Dudes. I guess women aren't either if dudes aren't, but fucking, I don't know how they came up with that fucking figure, but they seem to. And she's trying to give advice on how to change that. Same with Andrew Tate and all these fucking people. But they always seem to go back to these full traditional, woman stays in the kitchen, fucking that kind of shit. And personally, I don't really want that either. Like somewhere in between would be all right. You know, like you don't have to be fucking, stuck in the kitchen, never allowed out of the house, and like 1940s.
All
woman.
I know is that I enjoy cooking and eating good food.
That's going on the
Too
fucking-
much to allow someone who's not as good as cooking as me to be in the fucking kitchen. That's not happening. Jess is a good cook.
You
She's
are
not
a
bad.
sensitive new age man.
I
then,
certainly
aren't you?
am.
Yeah.
But they
But
talk.
I fucking love cooking.
They talk about that, not all the traditional values thing, like virgins as well. It's like, yeah, you got to get yourself a virgin.
No.
If she's banged and more than
She's-
one girl,
yeah.
don't touch her. It's like, I
She
don't
says,
really think
she
so.
says a lot like that, and
Yeah.
I just find that shit fucking hilarious,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
is
why I
hilarious.
love it because
and
it's
what's
so
the
good.
justification for that? What's the justification?
Well, she's saying that one of the things she was saying is girls on the other extreme that bang all the time, they lose an element of like companionship to one person. So they can't ever get really close to one person
Well,
because they bang so many.
everyone I've boned, I've a very special place in my heart.
Fair enough.
Are you
So,
going to
like,
tattoo
200
their
people?
names under the? love?
My face isn't big enough.
Oh, okay. Well, if you
Fair
shave your head, you
I'm
get
going
more
to
space.
hell. I apologize. I'm a promiscuous girl.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. You get to do what you want, but and she says that as well. She's like, "Fucking, if you want to do that, do that." But then at the same time, she's saying shit like, "Yeah, you should be a virgin and you should do all this other stuff."
The,
So,
the thing I saw, she was like arguing that purity is like a big thing that men hold dear to them, and I was like, I don't know. About that.
it is to some
I
extent.
know a lot
man.
of guys that would rather a chick that can fuck
No, I think it is
than
to some
some
extent.
fucking starfish virgin.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I agree with that too, and I don't
think-
really.
I think
care.
all men in this room will
put
agree to that.
Put it this way: if someone said to you, like, "Well, you want to go out and date with this girl? She's really nice. She's slept with 200 guys." What would your reaction be?
No one's going to introduce someone like that, though.
No,
so I
I
don't
know,
even have
but
to
you
think
know-
about it.
yeah, okay.
No one's going to be like, she's had exactly this
I
many
know,
partners.
well,
This
You
is
just-
Natalie. She's currently on 184.
Yeah, you know,
Not out.
All right, you
Looking to
found
race the bat a second time.
you found out that that's how many dudes, or she told you that's how many dudes she
strike
slept
rates
with.
is
And then you
through the
times it
roof.
by 3 because they always
Because they
do.
always do that, yeah. So, like,
It's
what
just-
would you do then if they
You,
said,
you already assume that, though.
do you?
100%.
I don't.
You, naturally, you don't assume 200, but you assume that they're
Well, I'm
fucked
just
other
taking the
people.
extreme. Oh yeah, of course. But
Yeah,
like,
so it's like, what
but
does it
I'm
matter?
taking
So
the
what does it
extreme.
matter if it's 20
okay,
or
what about
200?
like an ex porn star? Would you date and be in a relationship with one?
If opportunity arose and I was in that situation, I felt a connection there. Maybe.
So you would discount the fact that she's been banged.
if I was a
1,000 times
single
or whatever?
man and I had an opportunity to fuck a porn star, I'll
Not fuck, I'm
to
talking
God.
about-
I'm setting the parameters now. Hand to God, I'm doing that shit.
No, I would
For
too.
Sure.
I would too, but that's
But-
bang, not fucking date and marry and have kids with.
Yeah, but just because she's a porn star doesn't mean she's like a fucking not compatible.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
yeah,
saying
no, I know,
to you
but-
personally, what would your most guys
like I
would
said, if I
not
was in that
touch it.
situation, yeah, why not? But it's not black and white.
I'm just
like
asking
that.
what your mental, like what your outlook would be on
Well,
a
Drew,
person.
why are you using the number of sexual partners as a judgment on someone's
I'm
character?
not. I'm not. It's just a visceral reaction that men have to, because and this is what they go into and this Pearl woman goes into. For me to bang 200 birds is a fucking gold star achievement, and I should get a fucking medal for that shit. For a woman to do the same thing, she just has to drink a few beers and go to the pub and say "fuck me." It's completely different.
But are you saying you've got no taste or discernment when you get your 200 there?
Oh,
Because that's like you saying, you'll fuck anybody 45-year-old girl who's a marriage cancer in the disabled toilet.
Oh, if they say it
Hey,
takes a
she
bit
was
less.
hot and I was 19, all right? No, I thought this was a judge-free zone.
Obviously, that takes a little less skill, but like, no, I mean, just in general, like, if so usually you're going to go for a girl that you actually find attractive, it takes some effort to get there. And when you get the prize, you're fucking happy about it. So it's just a difference. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that I think men, when they see a guy, a woman that's had a lot of sexual partners because they know somehow, it turns them off. That's what I think.
I think most guys would probably find it intimidating more than
You reckon
it
it's
turns it off.
intimidating?
Yeah, because they're like, she probably like,
Had way bigger cocks than mine.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, there's that.
and like other shit. Like, how can I even compete? Like,
I had that when I
Yeah.
dated this black chick. I'm like, she's going to fucking be disappointed.
Yeah, but girls don't want baseball bats, man. Like dicks are like the porridge, and you got you want the Goldilocks
imagery's
zone.
so good.
You know?
The Goldilocks zone.
Imagine fucking kneecapping yourself because you're carrying a baseball bat between your legs.
Oh, it'd be the worst.
Doing the 100-meter dash, just go down halfway through.
Oh.
Sorry, my cock got my knee.
Remember when Paul Hazelby was in the paper and like that photo of him being tackled and his cock was hanging out the bottom of his
Oh,
shorts
yeah, I
in
think
West
I remember
Australian, and they published that photo of his dick. So fucking Hazelby's packing some heat if you can see his cock coming out the bottom of his footy shorts
Do you reckon he-
mid tackle.
Do you reckon the editor saw that and was like, do it anyway?
I reckon they did.
Post it anyway.
Yeah, like, we can afford the damages. Who cares?
Probably the best thing the Western Australian has ever fucking published.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with
I'd
that.
rather cocks than the locations of our guns.
That's a good point.
Yes, yes.
Very good point.
Yeah.
But Drew, while we're talking about purity tests, so I've admitted on this show that I've never watched porn.
Oh, yeah.
Bullshit.
So we tried to make you watch
But-
Two Girls, One Cup.
Yeah,
I
but
still call
isn't
bullshit on that.
When I told you that off air with Josh, you guys said that would be a tick in the box for a
Yeah,
girl.
100% it would be. Yeah.
What about if I told you I've never been in a strip club?
I mean, that would be good. Most men would think that's good.
Okay.
All those things.
Most women.
I
that go to strip
personally
clubs are
don't give a
lesbians
shit
anyway.
how many men a woman has slept with. I probably would if it was like thousands, or if it was a porn star. Like, just use that analogy. If it was a porn star, a lot of guys would be like, I don't know. Like, I went on a date with a fucking escort. I didn't know she was an escort. Went on a date with an escort. She told me after the date that she's an escort.
What do you think?
I
about
was
that?
like, I'm not dating an escort. And she goes, well, I had a boyfriend and we just broke up. I go, wow. So there was a dude that was with you and you didn't care. As I know, he did care. After a while, he couldn't handle it anymore.
yeah.
So, you know,
No shit.
I mean, that's next level. That's next level.
That's,
I
if
know
you're
that.
still acting, like that's the whole thing with the
Yeah.
porn star thing, right? If she was still doing it, I'd probably have an issue with that.
But-
But if
but-
she was like retired,
But you probably wouldn't
whatever.
because you're going into it knowing that she's a porn star. So you know what you're getting, right?
yeah, I don't know.
You would. Like, you'd be like, oh, yeah, she's a porn star.
That's probably why I wouldn't initiate. What's so
What
funny?
if someone commented, I can't read, I don't have my
Uh-huh.
glasses on. Kate,
Kate trying so hard not to make eye contact with the rainbow hog. Come off.
You know, you can make yourself a dickhead with these things.
Don't do that. You know what happened to me last time? All right, you're just going to...
So good. I love it.
Don't leave it on there for long.
It falls off. Yeah.
No, because you get a big red fucking mark welt on your head.
I
Like,
didn't. You did. I didn't.
Yeah, but mine was like on there for quite a while.
No welt.
Yeah, I had to explain that to my
I
fucking...
feel like it's looking at me. It's like the Mona Lisa.
Hang on, I can make it. How's that? So just hold it like that the whole
Yeah,
pod.
do it, yeah. Or you can have this one if you want. Or we've got plenty of different shit on this table. Check this one out. I thought this was fucking hilarious. This... Oh, shit. Hold on.
That comment was actually pretty fucking gold. Eh?
This is a study that was just released. Sorry. This is a thing that Stanford Uni publishes a list of harmful words, earmarks them for removal. So they've got a whole bunch of words that they're not allowing people to say because they're offensive in some way. And there's a whole list of it somewhere, but it's not on here. But words such as blacklist and whitelist are to be removed
Oh yeah.
because of the
Racist.
negative or positive connotations. what there is no you're placing negative connotations on it. There isn't any whitelist to be replaced with allow list, and blacklist with deny list.
Wasn't this? Remember the one we brought up the other day, which was similar to this, was like terms that need to go, that like the left,
Want to
pussies
go.
are trying to push.
Yeah.
And one of them was killing two birds with one stone. They were trying to replace that with doing two things at once.
Really?
It's like there's a reason people say killing two birds with one stone because it sounds better than doing two
knocking
things at
two
once.
birds with one connie in there. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. It comes off better. Like no one wants.
Gangbusters has been branded as harmful word because it unnecessarily invokes the notion of police action against gangs in a positive light, which may have racial
Oh,
undertones.
for fuck's sake!
Fuck, that's a bit of a stretch. Cancel or end is up to pushing abort. What? Out because the term can unintentionally raise religious moral concerns over abortion. Oh, cancel or end is
the replacement
changing
for abort.
So you can't say abort because that has about.
Oh, no, they haven't changed the word addicted.
Well, then,
Oh, where's that?
what does an abortion mean then? So is it a cancellation, like a deletion?
A deletion.
Yeah,
An end.
delete
It's
the
an end.
baby.
An end of life.
A person who would usually be referred to as addicted should be described as devoted or hooked.
I see.
To the mind of the authors, addicted trivializes the experience of people who deal with substance abuse issues.
I take offense with the word hooks though, because some people don't have hands and they have hooks there instead, and I think that's derogatory
Very
to them.
insensitive.
It's basically
It's derogatory to hookers as
Or
well.
if you're saying you're hooked on something, it's basically downplaying their trauma of losing their hand and almost implying that they're also addicted to a substance.
And what about the
Yeah.
word devoted? What about a man who's devoted to his wife or a wife who's devoted to her man?
I'm devoted to heroin. That's what I'm devoted to.
I'm an enthusiast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Let's get going.
devoted
What other fucking
all
words
the
do we
way,
have?
baby.
Oh, shit. Oh.
That's so fucking dumb.
Committed suicide has been described as ableist language that trivializes the experience of people living with mental health conditions and was earmarked for replacement with died by suicide.
Man.
Also known as Clinton
Okay.
syndrome.
What's the fucking difference between committed and died by? Like
I don't know. God, what's this one? Both
suicide
crazy.
implies they died by their own hand.
Yeah.
Like
Hooked by suicide. He
I
was
was-
devoted by suicide.
I was devoted to suicide and I used my hook to achieve
Oh,
it.
listen, this
I
one.
hooked myself
Both
to death.
crazy and insane were recognized as ableist language. It was ruled that these words should be replaced with wild or surprising.
That's how I describe myself on my Tinder profile.
What, wild
and
or?
describing.
Wild and surprising.
I was going to say,
So, yeah,
surely it
crazy
wasn't
and insane.
an or.
It's a euphemism.
Yeah, okay. So this is all words that they don't want to say at this university anymore. They don't want them to be around.
Fucking hell, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, earmarked is actually kind of ableist for people who don't have ears, though, isn't it? You know?
That's true. It's a very good point.
Well, this is a problem that I run into sometimes when I say thank you to people. I say thank you, sir, or thank you, ma'am. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
I'm assuming their gender.
That's true.
But I live I'm from the country. That's how I used to thank people. But in Melbourne, I was told quite forcefully,
Oh, yeah, of course, Melbourne.
Don't assume my gender when I said thank you, sir, for
Really?
buying a drink.
Just
Yeah.
say cheers, cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That works.
cheers, cunt.
I would just say thank you, they, them, zer, them.
Well, just stop saying thank you. Because it's easier.
Just
It's
say,
easier
"Fuck
just
you,
to be
cunt."
like, just give them a nod and then fucking walk on.
Yeah,
you know,
of course, it
like-
was in fucking Melbourne. I can't imagine. It must be pretty bad over there.
That
Mate,
whole
for that kind of
gender
shit.
thing, I'm over it.
Yeah,
Like-
Melbourne's a strange place like that.
That's your responsibility, not fucking mine. All right? I'm not playing in your fucking.
I was in a bookstore in Freo yesterday evening and walked into this store and they have, you know, the genres and they had gender and true crime as one distinct part of the bookstore.
gender.
What?
And true crime.
That's a bit random.
Like, true crime used to be its own genre in that store and now it's gender and true crime.
Gender? Whoa. Okay.
Does it really need to share space?
And it's like, I've always thought, you know, like if your gender, race, sexuality, ethnicity, whatever it is, if that's the most interesting thing about you,
Yeah.
i.e. the things that you didn't choose, you're inherently fucking boring to me. You know, what
Yep.
makes you interesting as a human being is the things you've chosen. not the things you had no say in.
But
Yeah,
they
that's
are
true.
choosing now. They're choosing to change their gender. So it's very exciting for boring people. All of a sudden.
That's a good point. They
But
mostly are
it is-
boring.
it is a way of making them interesting, though. Well, at least they think that it's making.
that's
them
my-
interesting.
that's
I'm with
also-
you. Like I think it's.
That's my argument about the being proud to be American or being proud to be Australian. I don't understand it because you were just popped out of a vagina in a country.
I don't understand.
And now
the
you're
pride
proud
anymore
about that?
'cause
I
that
don't
comes-
understand.
I
If
u-
you
I
fucking
used to
built
feel
the
as-
country, then you can be proud about it.
We are building the country.
No, well, you are working in it, so yeah, fair enough. You can be proud of that. But just
I used to be proud to be an Aussie just because I was like, I love the land and the country and the people. And now
Yeah.
our country's gone to the dogs, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
really feel it anymore. It's
Yeah.
kind of gone away a bit.
Where's my country gone?
Where is my
Where's
country?
my country gone?
I fucking love South Park ass.
Oh, check this one out. This is Biden. This is from ages ago, but he's been like pinged for fucking plagiarizing speeches, like other presidents' speeches even. And this is one of them. It's fucking hilarious. Listen
We
to
can
this one.
evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children, the quality of our education, the joy of their play.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children, the quality of their education, or the joy of their play.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price, bear any burden, accept any challenge, and meet any hardship to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. And I started thinking as I was coming
Goes
over
on
here,
and on, mate.
why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart. It's not because they didn't work as hard. It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent or the strength or the endurance or the commitment? Of course not. It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
So there you go.
How is it for Kennedy? It's like they killed both the Kennedy brothers and now they're stealing their lines 60 years later. It's the fucking ultimate insult, isn't it?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, he's fucking. I know he did it again recently. I don't have the latest one, but he's pretty much plagiarized someone else.
Well, at least he can
Isn't it?
remember someone else's lines because he can't fucking remember his own.
Well,
That's
this is
true.
the thing. All of those are from like when he was like of able mind.
Yeah,
Because
true.
now he's a senile old man, and he can't even get through a fucking sentence, let alone a word. So, like, I love Biden gaffes.
Yeah,
I
they're
thought
great.
George Bush gaffes were great.
Yeah,
No.
George Bush.
Oh, but they're still giving. Did you just see the video last year of him doing that speech and he was talking about countries that engage in illegal and brutal wars of occupation, like the one in Iraq. Sorry, I mean
yeah.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm 75.
Oh, he's a fucking idiot.
Here's one. Here's an interesting one that I saw. Another one. Fucking loads. The white supremacist origins of exercise,
You
and
said
6
this
other
the other day,
surprising
eh?
facts about the history of U.S. physical fitness. So physical exercise is white supremacy
It's
somehow.
racist. Yeah.
I don't know how.
And
I
you're
haven't
the
even read it.
biggest
I just saw
racist
that.
in the room because of it, eh?
Yeah. Nowadays, at the beginning of every new year, many Americans hit the gym to work off their holiday feasts. The momentum. What the momentum usually starts to fade mid-January. Blah, blah, blah. But such New Year's resolutions, it has a constant exercise as a way to improve bodily health. I don't know where they get to the racism bit. Let's find it.
I don't know. I kind of stopped taking Time magazine seriously when I found out they had Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin as their men of the year.
Yeah.
That should have been the death knell of your credibility as a publication.
That's true, yeah. And now they got Zelensky up there, so, you know.
Yep.
they've
Time will tell.
I think I got a photo of that somewhere. I did one
Remember
up.
when they told us during COVID that we were only allowed outside to exercise for 1 hour a day, and they closed all the gyms because it was too unsafe to go there? And now it's found that being fit and healthy is actually kind of a cure for it.
Yeah,
Like,
weird that.
Weird.
I went fishing during that, and I launched my kayak and like went in the river and stuff. And the whole time I was just gonna be like, oh, I've only been out for 20 minutes. You spend all day on the water, no one's gonna fucking know. But I never actually ran into police. I was like waiting for it to be like, yes.
You reckon they'd go?
Surprised someone didn't dob you in.
Yeah.
So we had that
That's the
No,
worst
no
part.
one
That's
was
the
out.
worst part.
Everyone was
Hey,
complying like
Time-
good little citizens.
Time
Yeah.
magazine, I switched there.
The surf was crowded, but I remember how crowded the surf was during that whole time.
Yeah.
And down south was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Well, I think the
Really?
country folk are the ones that like, we're like, nah.
but do you
get
remember-
fucked the most?
But do you
They're like,
remember that
"We're
they
gonna do what we
all,
want."
when we were talking about dividing up the zones and stuff, all the down south people were whinging that Perth people were going down south.
Yeah.
They're like, don't bring COVID down here.
Oh,
It's
that's a
like-
psychological scar on a man. I know
Yeah.
people, I know mates down there who went and spent thousands and thousands of dollars on guns after that.
Fucking hell.
And stocked up on ammo. Like, you know, the zombies come back next time, mate. Like,
Oh, Jesus.
we're armed to the fucking teeth.
Yeah, well, that's what Josh did.
Yeah,
You
true.
did it. You did it as well.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
How much do you reckon you spent on guns in the last?
Oh,
year and a half?
I haven't bought any new firearms for ages because there's nothing they'll really want. That's because I think the next step is literally to get better guns, and the only way to do that is to fucking go overseas.
Or modern.
Yep. But then,
Not
you
that
know,
I'm endorsing that, but
yeah, we always have to preface that every
Yeah.
time we say. I don't know. I'm just running out of like even on the East Coast, they got way better fucking firearms than we do.
Victoria, you can have a 45 caliber pistol. It's the only state in Australia where you can have 45 cal.
You can have them here, but you
Oh,
have
really?
to. Well, but it comes with fucking bullshit rules. You have to be at a gun club for at least 1 year, and then they have to approve you to be able to use it, and then you can only use it there. That's fucking stupid, eh?
does that mean you have to store it there as well?
I'm not sure. Nah, I doubt it. You would have to, but you're not allowed to use it anywhere else.
Who needs a 45 cal handgun anyway?
No one.
It's not a matter of this. This
Who
is the
needs a
funny thing,
9 mil
It's
handgun?
never a matter of need. It's a matter of want.
Yeah.
No one needs any gun.
That's
really.
true.
Speak for yourself.
You don't need them, but you fucking want them, and it's awesome, and they're awesome.
They are,
Yeah.
my view on guns has changed enormously.
What was it before?
Well, you know, I don't believe that everyone should have access to a gun. We have a mentally ill component in our society, and those people need to be kept away from guns.
100%.
I'm all for it, but it was when the SAS took me shooting, and I got to play with the Glock in the range there with moving targets, and just
Fuck yeah.
that was the moment for me. I just remember thinking, just, oh,
That's the thing.
I love the Glock. You know what I mean? Like-
We've been saying this since we were talking about guns. Anyone who says they don't like guns has never shot one.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
the moment they shoot them, they're like, "Oh, these are fucking wicked."
Yeah,
because
that's
they
pretty
are,
much
man.
it. Yep.
It gives you that sense of like power and like.
That's the interesting psychological part about it, isn't it? You know, is it the power that you find interesting? Because I
find that-
like the sport of it too. You know,
Yeah, I think the sport was more interesting for me than like. The other thing was the fact that people hate them, or not hate, but have this fear of guns, and like in
You
Australia.
just did it to piss people
Yeah, I
off.
did it to piss
eh?
people off, yeah. So no, it's just like because it's like a drug in a way, you know, like you ban magic mushrooms. You're like, well, what's magic mushrooms like? I want to try it then.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with guns. Like guns are bad. It's like really, let me try and see. And then I tried, and I was like, no, this is fucking great fun.
Yeah.
And to me, it was more trying to improve. It could be fucking throwing a rock and trying to hit a target or something. It's the same principle to me. It's like I just want to get good at doing this.
Yeah.
It doesn't really. And then when you add,
You sort of apply that to all the things that you get into.
yeah,
though.
kind of, yeah,
Like
a sport because
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Well, look at guitar. Like you're
Look
like,
at guitar,
I
yeah.
enjoy guitar. I want to get really good at this, and you're a fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal guitarist.
Well, yeah,
And
so you-
then, like with your work, with
Yeah,
guns,
sure. That's
with
my-
the pod. Like you're a very driven person to do something like the best way
yeah,
to be done.
fucking oath.
There is actually a name for the mental illness of people who are scared of firearms.
Oh, yeah?
Hoplophobia.
Pussies.
What is it?
Hoplophobia. I believe
Hoplophobia.
Police Minister Paul Papalia may have a case of hoplophobia.
Is he
Or
the new
just
minister now?
tyranny. He's the current
Hopla-
minister.
Yeah, for WA
He's the
or
one who adopts the entire firearm
yeah.
population.
Here we go.
He's
What-
blocked me on everything though.
Yeah.
Didn't return my Christmas card.
What an arsehole.
There you go,
I'll send him one
hoplophobia.
on your behalf, Kate.
Thank you, Corey.
Hoplophobia, unaccountable. What does that mean? The irrational fear of guns. That's what it means.
And it is always irrational.
Yeah.
When you actually talk to them, they can't actually explain why they're afraid of them. And you're right. Most of the time, they've never even seen one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I find.
Wow,
Like,
it's a big. It says
I've always
people
been
with
intrigued by 'em.
hoplophobia often avoid situations where they may come into contact with firearms. The studies of the prevalence of hoplophobia are quite varied, but generally believe the condition affects between 6% to 14% of the population. This must be US probably. That's a lot. Hoplophobia, never heard of it.
Well,
Guns are just
I
fun,
think
man.
Papalia only has that case when the firearms are owned by the citizens and not the state.
Yeah. Well, he can shoot, right? He's
He was ex-Navy clearance diver.
is he?
They're the worst shooters. As someone who was married to a Navy officer, they cannot fucking
You were married to a
shoot.
Navy
Yes,
officer?
I was.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah, she told us
Interesting.
last part, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Cool.
There's
Fair
some
enough.
So
funny
I did try the traditional conservative married being in the kitchen relationship.
Did you
so to
really?
speak. Yes, so
Oh,
yes.
can you
Most
cook?
most of the Navy people I've met
I
are
can't.
dumb as shit.
Navy people.
Yeah.
Wasn't McGowan
Yeah.
a fucking
Yes.
Navy?
They're just not.
He was a Navy lawyer.
Lawyer,
So
yeah.
even dumber.
What a fucking cunt, eh?
They're just not.
He's a lawyer
You're not
too.
taught to think for yourself in the Navy.
Okay.
You get given orders.
Wouldn't
and
that
you
be
execute
similar
the
in the
orders,
army?
And most of the time, they execute them really fucking poorly.
Yeah, okay.
Even simple shit. Like we've used them as labor before. So like we'll rock up to
Really?
it. Yeah, 100%. So we have these things called load banks, and it's basically just a big bunch of like resistors and reactants components where they can load test the ships on. And we have these like heavy as fuck cables that can take the current. So it's like 600 amps, I think it can take. And we got to run them in. And there was this issue with the company we're working with where they weren't willing to pay for the labor. So they organized the ship staff to run the cables for us. And just, it's a very simple task. Like this end here, that end on the ship, and they fucked it up. And there's 9s that run, and they fucked up every single cable. Like, and it's just like,
Okay.
you're given an instruction, you're like, dude, you're not doing it right. You got to do it like this. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, why are we doing this? And it's just like, well, because you've been told to, and all right, but you got to just do it the way I'm telling you to do it, and it'd still fuck it up. And there's just like, because there's like 30 of them, there's like a breakdown of communication between, it's like Chinese whispers. He's like, oh, he said to do this, and by the time you get to the end, it's like completely different.
Yeah, all right.
And it's like,
Well, I'm
fucking,
glad my taxpayers' money is going to such incompetent people defending our nation.
yeah. I think these are like, they're like the deckhands.
But how
and shit. They're like
quickly-
the lowest of the low. I
how-
think the ones that ever step up, they
How
obviously
quickly would
filter out
we
the
get
people.
rolled if anyone tried to invade us?
So quickly.
Yeah. We just would.
We
Well,
have
luckily
a
guns to
terrible.
defend
I know,
ourselves,
but I
so
mean,
we're ahead a little bit.
we have
But our
guns to
first-
defend us that will last 1 week longer than everyone else
Our first call of defense is our Navy.
until the
And
rounds
our
run out.
Navy is spread out across quite a large area.
Fucking
And
massive, yeah.
most of our ships are constantly being worked on.
Yeah, okay.
So there's not that many that are actually in rotation.
And then if you think about like what's the closest nearest ally, I know like you could say like Southeast Asian areas are allied, but they're not going to do much for us. But like
Yeah.
the nearest Western ally is
Too far away, by the
Fucking
time.
yeah,
Yeah, too
way
far
too
away.
Well,
far.
lucky
The prob-
Ukraine will come to save us.
Yeah.
The problem with the Navy is, and I heard people talking about this, like some suits at HMAS Cuttable in Sydney. They were saying that they were like, our Navy is dog shit. We need more vessels. We need more people. But the biggest problem was the people. They're like, we can build these ships. We can afford to build them, but we do not have the manpower to run them. Yeah. And there's
okay.
just not enough people signing up.
Yeah.
So that's their biggest issue is they can build them, but they just sit there.
Do you think closing the borders for 2 years and not letting anyone come in has something to do with the supply chain issues?
Yeah.
maybe?
Well, and it's also, I think it's just shattered people's image or understanding of what their country is. You know, it's come as a great shock to people that the country they thought they would pledge allegiance to doesn't pledge allegiance to them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, you know, I used to believe in that in my country and, you know, I would go and fight for it and defend it. But now it's like, who am I fighting for? I'm fighting for fucking multinationals who run the country.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm not signing up for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the morale crisis in the Defence Force is enormous.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the Navy.
It's in the police,
Yeah,
man.
right.
Look at how many people in the
Yeah,
police
it's
left
true. Yeah.
because of what was going on. They're like, we don't believe in this shit. We're like, we don't want to suppress our own people for this. Like this, we're not a part of it. And they all quit. And now the issue we have now with my insider source with the police is that they're just passing people they haven't even finished their basic training. So they're leaving cadet school. They haven't even done 50% of what they're meant to do, or they're failing things. And they're just like, here's your badge, here's your gun.
Fuck, I might go sign up.
Yeah, dude, you'll get a job like that, but
Well,
you get paid dog shit though.
You
Well,
want to
yeah.
work
Like, you'll
as
rise
that
the ranks
on
faster than
behalf of
anyone
the
else, bro.
state?
Well,
Fuck
but you
no.
know what? Like, it's the only fucking gig in town where if you do something wrong, you get stood down on full pay
Yeah, that's true.
pending the result of an investigation that's done by a mate. Sounds like great perk to me. I'm going to start stalking my ex with the Western Australian Police database.
Yeah.
I want to know who you're slinging, what you're earning, and I want to be stood down on full pay when I get found out.
Yeah.
It's called accountability. Have you not heard about it?
So fucked, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're just like letting in anyone, and they're passing him, and like
Yeah,
the next generation of police
And
officers
they
are gonna be
already
so
weren't
bad.
fucking good at shooting to begin with. Imagine fucking these guys.
Well, they never seem to miss the black kids, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, they're good at hitting those.
what targets are they using up at the range in Joondalup there? You know,
They're all
like, I'd like to know.
Well, you're not allowed to have silhouettes of people when you shoot targets at the ranges. That's
Only for police.
only police can, right?
Police.
So there you go. They can,
I used to have a job where I had to go in and test the lead levels in the shooting range in the Joondalup Police Complex.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Interesting. The one in Belmont, and I know I meant to shit on it, but fucking hell, like the airflow in there is not ideal, and you really feel like you're breathing in a lot of shit that you probably
It's a
shouldn't be.
fantastic facility, though. They hosted me in my federal election campaign for a shooting night. So
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, like I love the guys there, and Sam, who works there, he's a fucking legend. If you want to get a firearm, talk to him, and he fucking helps you out with everything. He's great, but it definitely needs some money pumped into it.
Yeah.
But there's a new one in Canning. Well, I say new; it's a bit old now, like a year or so, in Canning Vale, and they've got like steel plates and all these different trees and shit, and it's heaps more fun.
That's what you
Just
want. You want to
clinking
hear
steel.
that fucking ping.
Yeah,
when you
100%,
hit it.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want to shoot paper.
Nah.
Fuck that. It's so boring.
So,
It
like,
is.
can you go there and like shoot their guns? Or you have to take your own guns.
Oh,
into the
either,
range?
yeah. But their guns, I mean, the Belmont ones are fucking mostly crap. Like they're just worn out because they get used by general public as well. So you don't need your license, you can go, but they put it on that stupid little hook thing because 2 people committed suicide.
It's been a fuck day at work, hey, like hiring out the guns and then
Yeah.
just going
He
and
told me-
saying,
the rest of us get punished because of these people having to shoot tether. Don't waste your
who's
time.
going to fucking clean the cranium off the fucking
Well, he
roof?
I
told me
want to
that-
know how
They
long
are
it took for them to
selfish.
realize.
Not that long because he
Are you
opened
sure?
the door
Because- well,
and
it's-
the body fell out. Or
Oh,
this is
okay,
for
right.
one of them. So like he's like, oh yeah, he opens the door and this body just goes, and he's like, oh fuck.
Did you have to be supervised while you're in there or not?
No, there's cameras. They pick it
Yeah,
up
okay.
hell quick because like
Right.
I was doing like I did a course so I could use a holster and holster fire,
Yeah.
and so you get this special area to do that, right? And that you're in there alone, and so I set everything up. And when I walked onto the line, I walked with my firearm outside of the holster.
Yeah.
And I just walked up like that and went, and then someone came and tapped me on the shoulder and like, you can't do that, man. I'm like, can't do what? And he goes, you have to have it in your holster till you get to the line and then make sure there's no one around and then you can do it and only face the gun forward. So they're pretty fucking strict on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I just imagine that like all you're hearing is just fucking rounds popping off.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you're just like,
heaps.
oh yeah, everything's normal in there. Everyone's having a good time, and then old mate's just fucking there bleeding out.
Well,
Like,
the
2
cunt went
hours
in there
later,
with
you
a
come in to like sweep the floors. You're like, fuck.
the cunt went in there with a fucking
Day since last death.
Yeah.
Tally on the wall.
No, you go in there with a broom to sweep the floors. You're like, I'm gonna need a bigger broom.
Gonna need them all.
I'm gonna need a bigger broom.
no, the guy went in there with a fucking adjustable spanner to take off the shit so he could shoot himself. And you can't fucking plan for that shit.
He's there with a hacksaw, just like,
Yeah.
they're like, do you like guns? He's like, not really.
So yeah, he
Do you like
literally
life? Definitely not.
Yeah, so he literally like went there and undid everything and then fucking shot himself.
That's crazy.
I mean, obviously he wanted to kill himself. What a cunt of a thing to do, though. It's like you're just fucking everyone else over by doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially we have voluntary assisted suicide now. So,
Yeah.
you know, go let the state sanction kill you instead.
How do you feel about this as a God-fearing woman with Catholic...
Catholic guilt.
I wasn't going to say guilt. I was going to say morals or values.
About what?
About the
Suicide?
voluntary assisted dying legislation.
I'm a libertarian, so I believe in individual power over your own body. whatever you believe. In terms of divinity for that is up to you. But I believe that I should have the right to choose what I do with my body. And if that is against your religion, that's fine. But for me, if I got in that situation where I was so sick and unwell, then I would want to have that accessible to me. And that would be my personal choice. And I wouldn't put that onto anybody else.
Because it's only if you're terminally ill that you can use that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, not in Canada. They're trying to do it for people with fucking
I mean,
depression.
Here. I mean,
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, here, yeah.
I don't think we'll
How
take.
fucked
I don't
is
think we'll
that?
take that next step.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, it's just a tough one, man. Like, like you said, it fucks with people's days. You know, like that guy hung himself on the bridge over Mandurah that goes to the train station, and he like.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you know much about hangings, but if you get the height drop wrong, you fucking rip your head off. And that's what he did.
Really?
He ripped his fucking head off.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he decapitated himself.
Fucking
will
hell.
say
Well, at least
just
he's definitely
Did he
dead.
die though?
Yeah.
It was just the thing from fucking the Adams family. Like, it was just a head.
Just in relation to the assisted dying laws in Western Australia, I was working in the Parliament at the time. They don't actually say on your death certificate that it's by assisted suicide because that would be unpalatable to the Christian groups, and you might not be able to have a funeral in a
Oh.
home if that was on your death certificate. So the figures and statistics on who has actually died using that system is never going to be accurate because the death certificate doesn't show that that's how they died for religious reasons.
So religious people can't obviously commit suicide, so they can't use it. So even if
they can.
Can they?
Yeah, it's just
Well,
against
like
their
a-
beliefs.
it's a-
They can still
it's
do it.
again
Oh, yeah.
about
Yeah.
what you can accept for you personally.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, at what point you go, fuck this religion shit? I feel like dying.
Their belief is that you don't go into heaven if you commit
Yeah,
suicide.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's
I already know I'm not going to heaven, so I'm under no illusion.
You know what?
Well,
She's got a face
heaven's
tattoo.
not real,
Yeah.
so
That's the end of
Well,
it.
Leviticus does say that you shouldn't pierce your own skin and put these kind of things. So you
Yeah.
are right in quoting the Bible. You should.
But hold on, I listened to something recently, and it was really interesting to do with the Bible. And I kind of already figured this anyway. But like, all these people taking the Bible literally, there's just stories of and all the miracles that happen in it aren't really miracles. They're just sort of a story with a positive message in it, right? So like, they obviously went overboard saying that like Jesus walked on water and all that shit, but it's not meant to be literal. It's supposed to be a metaphor for something, right? Is that true? Is that what
Well,
you
that's-
think?
Yes, that's how I read it.
And if you think about it that way, it makes a fuck ton more sense. And then you don't do stupid shit like hate gays because, you know, or all that other thing. You just use
Well,
the...
you basically ignore the whole Old Testament, right? that none of that should be, you know,
Yeah,
one woman is
that's
worth four
hilarious.
men or whatever they say in the Old Testament.
The Catholic Church, the Vatican's already abolished it. They got rid of it.
Yeah, okay.
They no longer teach the Old Testament
Yeah, okay.
in an attempt to.
Well, at
modernize
least it can be
Catholicism.
reformed, unlike fucking Muslims. And Muslims believe that shit. That's the other thing. So they take it as a literal. They say it's a
And they've
literal.
never
word.
had reformation in their religion as
No.
well, unlike Christianity. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say. So, my sister, she's a singer. She's quite a good one too.
Oh, yeah?
And when she's in town, she normally gets a gig around Christmas time at churches and stuff. So a few years ago, we went to, I believe it was a Christian church. So my family's Catholic. I am not at all, but I was raised that way. Not the right time. And yeah, so we went to this Christian church, and the priest was telling us, so they deliver the gospel, and then they tell a story about, well, they sort of break down the story of the gospel, and then like sort of
It's called the homily.
the homily. Thank you. So they do that shit, right? The homily. And he was basically saying, the Christian priest was like, yeah, like homosexuality, A-okay, like
yeah?
not a problem. Yeah, hang on, I'm going to take this.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Oh, okay. No worries. Yeah, okay. Well, what about fucking, I don't know if you know much about it, but they're banning the sex outside of marriage in Indonesia.
Good luck enforcing that.
Well, they say that only a family member, or I don't think they said friend, I think it's only family are the ones that can dob in someone for not
And
for having
what-
sex
what is
outside of
the-
marriage.
What is the purpose of that? Because society is going to hell in a handbasket because people are fornicating outside of the marriage document.
Like
issued
Bali
by the
wasn't
state.
already fucking a basket case.
Yeah, but they hate Bali. Like mainland Indonesia fucking can't stand Bali because they're doing everything that Sharia and fucking
And because it's very wealthy.
True.
Balinese fucking made more money out of the mining boom than we did, mate. It's a fucking scandal.
That's a good point. They do, yeah. Well, they did until COVID hit. But they probably are again already pretty quickly. Everyone seems to be going.
How did you go in Thailand? Did they ask you give any grief in Thailand about not having the jab?
Nah, none. And a lot of people in Thailand haven't had it. A lot of locals. They didn't touch it.
They never had mandates.
I think they did. But Thailand would the whole time let people come in without a vax certificate. The whole time. They never had one. They had this thing, they call them sandbox hotels. I didn't really understand why they call them that, but it was kind of like do your quarantine in this purpose hotel for quarantine like we had here. And it was heaps less. It was like 7 days and then you're good. But when I went, it was already gone. So I literally just fucking got on the plane, went, no problems at all. So yeah, I don't know.
How was Thailand? Was it busy?
Yeah, tourists not so busy because it was off season, like wet season. Fucking some of the like rains that they had when I was there, like even in Bangkok, were fucking amazing, man. It's like the street is like a river, and you just see like shit floating down it. Like literally a motorcycle will be floating down past. You're like, oh, someone lost their motorbike. Like fucking insane how quickly it happens, and it's like literally 10 minutes that happens. Just starts raining, and then within 10 minutes it's flooding this high. Fucking crazy.
Did you indulge in some cannabis while you were there? Because
I did.
At that time you were there, it was a completely free market in the true sense of the word, where there was no government regulation at all, because all they did was legalize the plant. It had been on a illegal plant list, took it off that list, and it's suddenly free market.
Yeah, well, definitely lots of shops and stuff opening up with it. Like, if you're a weed smoker, you'll fucking enjoy it, because there's like, you know how you have like food trucks? They have weed trucks. So like, if you're at a nightclub or something, they'll just drive the weed truck up out the front of the nightclub. So you walk out and there's a weed truck there, and you're like, fucking sweet. And then they've got their shit figured out. So you're like, I want to be able to sleep, or I want to be more energized or whatever. And they're like, well, then you want this one or you want this one, and then they just give you the percentage. One thing that I fucked up on though, because I don't smoke weed, the first time I went, I was like, oh, I just want something really low THC because I haven't smoked for ages. Like, yeah, here you go, 7%. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty low. So I smoked the whole joint, and I'm like, feel good. This is great. You know, had a good sleep. So I went back. I'm like, look, I'm going to need something a bit stronger than that. It was all right. And so he goes, well, what do you want? And I said, oh, 25% sounds pretty good. Thinking that it goes to like 80 or 90 or something. 25 is the top. That's how much THC you can get, top max 25. So I got that one. Fuck, man. I've never been more stoned in my fucking life. I spent like half an hour just staring at a wall. And it was fun. And then, yeah, so after that, I'm like, all right, I might fucking settle down on smoking weed. But, and the thing is, right, and this goes exactly to like libertarian type thing. They legalized it, and then you go and ask fucking 80% of people, have you smoked weed? You buying it? And like, nah, I'm not really interested in weed.
The naughty factor's taken away from it. It's like Amsterdam.
Yeah, okay, probably. Yeah, probably same thing happened there, right? Well, I mean, people that are going to smoke it are going to smoke it. You've left it up to the individual to have some personal responsibility and just decide whether they want it or not.
One of the things I love about Amsterdam with the red light district and legalization of prostitution is people there actually value monogamous relationships more, because the ability to have sex with someone else is readily available.
Is that right?
So being monogamous in Amsterdam is actually it's admired.
Yeah, right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. I'll tell you what, like, I don't know if you've been down that. Have you been that red light district?
Yes.
Jesus Christ, there's fucking 10 out of 10s.
Oh, yeah.
It's the hardest thing you would do as a man to try and walk from one end to the other without going in one of those rooms, like windows. Fuck. And then they make it even harder because they'll wave at you and like grab you and shit. It's like, no.
Reminds me of a story I can tell for the Patreon.
Yeah, okay. We'll get over there in a minute. I'll just actually, while Normie's away, good. We shall do the winner of the 2022 list. So I'll just bring up the.
Sorry, I had a washing machine emergency.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
Washing machine
How
emergency.
90s, 50s housewife of you.
I know.
He cooks. He fucking does the washing. He's fucking.
Well, I'm
onto
not doing it. My misso's doing it.
Oh, all right.
But we went to the cricket last night, and the tickets I left in my back pocket.
Oh,
so there's
fuck.
paper through everything.
Oh, okay. So you've already been. So they're not fresh tickets that you're
No,
going.
no,
you
no.
know, fuck.
No, because it's like a printed paper ticket. So it's just yeah, there's like paper through
Done that
everything
many
now.
a time.
Yeah, so Jess was like, how the fuck do we fix this? And I was like, I don't know. And so I just put it underwater and it washed off. So I was like, make a bath, dunk all the clothes that have it,
Yeah.
get it off, and then run them back through the machine.
Modern problems.
Do you remember the
require
fucking?
modern
Do you remember?
solutions.
Yeah.
I might be showing my age here, but do you remember the old school notes, like the $2 notes? They would shrink in the wash. Like the new ones are plastic, they don't. But the old $2 and fucking 10 and 20.
Yeah, and then you can make a magnet and put it on the fridge. I did that.
Did you
I'm
really?
an old lady.
Yeah, they
I wasn't
literally
alive
shrink.
for $2 notes.
So
mate,
they'd go down to $2 notes. So they'd go down to like that size, from like bigger than the current ones, like $5 ones. All right. So the kill yourself list winner was fucking
Mr.
again.
McGowan.
That's 2 years in a row. McGowan has won it.
Yeah.
So it was McGowan was the top by because he's on shit. So he was on 23%. Everyone else got really low results apart from Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab.
Got 23.
Oh, so it's tied.
Oh, hold on, it's gone up. That went up. Someone must have voted recently. Okay, so it's a tie. Jacinda Ardern got 2. Dan Andrews got 9%. Bill Gates got 9%.
How did Friendly Geordies get a mention on your list?
Shit. Well, I don't
Because
even know.
I bring him up a fair bit because I quite like him. But Josh hates him because he like plays into the duopoly of politics.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
that's why Josh is like, I don't like him. But
Well, I don't
I think
really
he's
like him
funny
too much either.
because I see the comedic side of it all.
Yeah.
So I just enjoy that. But he is a Labour simp, like
Yeah.
through and through.
Yeah, that's what I
that's
don't
my
like.
problem with him too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just like I get where you're coming from, but like if you saw sort of both sides, it would be a bit more interesting. But at the same time, the stuff he was doing with John Barilaro was fucking priceless.
Oh,
It was
mate, that's
so
going
good.
to the Hall of Fame of
Yeah.
Australian comedy.
fucking Braze.
Oh, shout out to Braz,
Shout out to
Clubs New
Braz.
South Wales.
Yeah.
What they're doing to Jordan Shanks is disgraceful, and the way the rest of the country doesn't really care about it. It's,
No, that's
It's
not.
fucked,
It's frightening.
man.
It's
Dude,
frightening.
The anti-terror unit arrested him, and
and then he has his house
got
fucking firebombed. Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty psycho.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Well, they firebombed his neighbors trying to get him, and then like a week later, they finally figured out where he lived and hit his house.
Yeah.
And luckily, he wasn't there. I don't think.
I mean, this is
If he was
literally
armed,
a similar thing to. That's a good point.
he could have shot
But
the
he went-
Molotov cocktail in the air.
He'll never be armed because
Like fucking the Wild
he loves
West.
Labor, and Labor, they're definitely not pro-gun. Okay, so then we have the
Legends list.
Legends list. This one was Dan Owens,
Yeah,
who recently passed away,
unfortunately.
unfortunately. So he got Dan Owens got 71%.
Posthumously awarded.
Yep. Joe
What did I
Rogan.
get? Wasn't I on the legends
Yeah,
list?
you-
Did I get any fucking
Oh,
votes?
let's have a look.
You got to die.
Putin got
It should be
2%.
about 1.9% if it goes by my federal election campaign.
Yeah,
If
two.
I
Hey,
didn't
there you go,
get-
2.
2%.
Yay! Yeah, thank you.
More
to
than
those who-
Ricardo.
Thank you. To those
More
who
than
voted for
Mussolini,
me.
more than gonorrhea.
But the same as ants. That's all right. Like, you got
Korean
the same as
barbecue
ants.
didn't even stand a chance.
Oh fuck! I'm keen for some Korean barbecue.
I've never been.
Oh man,
I've never been
You
to
need to
one,
go
eh?
with someone who knows what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, show you the ropes.
100%.
And then the other one,
Cheerio.
the last one was the Extinction List winner, and it was state premiers. They won the Extinction
Who's that
List.
bald fuck?
I don't know. I don't know who that fucking guy is. But he's apparently was a state premier. Maybe he was Adelaide or something.
It's not Gunner, is it?
Nah.
Dunno.
Don't know who
He
it
had
was.
no hair. Unless Gunner's had cancer and he's been through chemo. Hey, fuck, wouldn't that be horrible? Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just going to work for Twiggy, the bastard.
So yeah,
Well,
that's the winners for 2022. So
I do want to present. I always bring a present when I come on this show.
Oh, yeah?
'cause I love you
Oh,
guys
here we
so
go.
much. I have made a Lady Liberty calendar.
Oh, wow.
And I have also used your T-shirt in one of the months. I
Oh,
believe,
yeah, I
I
posted
believe
that
it's
one.
March because that's when McGowan declared the state of emergency. So for the month of March, I'm
it
proudly
is March.
wearing a No Man's Land
Do that.
McGowan shirt.
do that one, Noi.
Yep.
Oh shit.
And I'm
There you go.
holding, I believe, a rifle and shotgun in that picture, or
Nice.
just a rifle. Just a rifle.
Yeah, that's one I posted.
I'm still selling them, ladyliberty.com.au. I know I'm unemployed. I need to slut myself out whenever I get the chance to. So please consider buying one. All proceeds go to
Me.
my cocaine addiction.
Sweet.
This
No worries.
is for
So-
you. This
Yeah,
is for
sweet.
you.
Cheers. We'll chuck it on the wall.
It's a good shirt, that one. That one did the
Yeah.
rounds pretty
And it
well.
has in their key dates.
And we got the
like
mugs as well. If you
lockdowns, you know.
Smoking a dart.
Yeah, whenever all the state of
Don't know where
emergency
that
was
is.
declared.
Oh, yeah.
420, you know, all the important
Lots of
dates,
guns.
Lots
I like
of
it.
guns.
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
That one's a good one. With the Jag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sweet.
It's not a bad
Are these
photo.
all your firearms?
No, they are not my firearms,
They're
but
not yours.
they're registered and legal, I believe.
Yep.
I was told they were.
Okay.
Fuck, a calendar, eh? I haven't seen one of these in a while.
yeah.
No, I'm showing my age.
Nah, that's all right. I actually bought a fucking planner the other day. A year planner. So I'm trying to do that this year. See how long that
Get
fucking
more
lasts.
organised.
Yeah, a little bit. We tried it last year as well, and we got through to like Feb, and then just out the dust. So
Kind of like your fucking gym member. Remember that one?
yeah, I remember that. I made a move this year, and I didn't do that.
yeah, fair enough.
Fuck, I've only
You admitted
I've-
defeat.
I'm a gym's like best customer. Not in the sense that like they're getting
Yeah.
money all the time, but I'd never use the shit. So like I
Yeah.
sign up, I go once, don't put any wear and tear on their equipment. He can
Yeah.
sit there and gather dust and they'll still get their fucking money for a few months. And then you go
Yeah.
to quit and they're like, oh, actually our payment works out. So like, yes, you can pull out now, but you still have to pay for the next month. And it's in their fucking policies.
they
they get
can't.
another fucking month. It's like, I don't want to go
Yeah.
anymore.
Or
I
how about
never
you,
came.
well, you should see when you
Uh,
fucking try and go to the gym and they lock you out of the gym
yeah.
because there's some cold going around. That was fucking
My
annoying.
dad got dragged out of his gym by the police,
really?
What?
refusing to wear a mask.
Jesus Christ.
He's banned for 12
Wearing
months.
a mask at the gym.
They dragged him out
Fuck that.
unceremoniously.
That's ridiculous. I mean,
Fucked. Is he banned from just that gym or all gyms?
Just that gym, because it's like one of the local government run ones.
Ah, right.
oh,
So they're like, yeah,
Like a
you're banned
rec-
for 12
like a rec
months.
centre.
Yeah.
fuck wears a mask at the gym. Sorry,
Idiots.
that's just
Morons.
ridiculous.
People
Yeah.
that want to die.
Do you know what I miss? I was like, because I used to go without a mask most places, and I've got this little Asian supermarket that I like, you know, because God bless the Asians, they've got great groceries and condiments.
They do.
But they love the mask, and I was walking in
yeah.
without a mask, and the fear in them. They were so scared of me. It was like Godzilla's return to fucking positive PCR,
Yeah.
and he's walking the aisles, and they were hiding like.
Yeah, it's the one time you see
Really?
their eyes
They're
fully
hiding.
open. Eh? You know, you just like that's still like.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, there was part of me that kind of liked the fear.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, we don't have to worry about the Chinese invading, bro. Like we just take off the mask and
and just run at them and they fucking leg it. Yeah, it was a bit like that in Thailand. A lot of them wear masks. I mean, a lot of them wear masks because it's fucking full of pollution as well in like the
Yeah.
city. But yeah, they were a bit
They've
like
always done it, but I think after COVID, you see it more. You know, it's like the things if you try and quit smoking, you just constantly see people smoking durries around you. You're like,
Yeah.
fuck, should I just smoke again? Like, what's going
that.
on?
Yeah,
But
that's true.
after the whole mask mandate thing,
Yeah.
like, I know there are still people that like are fully attached to it, but the Asians are always doing that. You know, they get a cold, they put the mask on, and you know,
Yeah,
good
that's
on 'em,
true. They do.
Whatever, but now you notice it way more, I reckon. Or
Yeah,
maybe it's just
I'd-
a bit pissed me off, so now I just look for it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I
One of those
still
things,
notice
eh?
it, especially when they're outside. But I remember the gym. But when I was saying that, wear the mask at the gym, and this fucking little, you know, like 17-year-old girl that's working the desk would come up to me and go, "Can you put your mask back on?" And I'd be like, "Bitch, you try and fucking deadlift 160 kilo with a mask on. See how fucking well you're doing." You know, it's almost impossible. I felt like I was going to pass out.
Yeah.
It's just retarded.
You
Common
should have
sense, mate.
passed out and then fucking sued them
I
for
should've,
creating an
yeah.
unsafe environment.
Good point. Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, anyone that did wear a mask for a gym session, I don't know if you guys did, how festy the fucking mask was after 45-minute workout, sweating and shit.
So
And-
I'm on the tools, right? As you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
I'm
so-
working in ships that are on a hard stand in the full sun, and once they heat up, they hold their fucking heat because they're insulated as well. I was working in a chain locker room, and it was literally 50 degrees in there. And we all had to wear masks, and
Yeah.
I was like, I had to wash them like daily. They were fucking gross, and they had the salt stain on them and everything from the sweat.
But they kept you
was
safe
nasty.
and they kept everyone around you safe.
Yeah.
I'm working on a boat with like fucking 50 cows mounted on the front. I've never felt safer in my life.
No, that's pretty sick.
No one's fucking coming for me, bro.
A friend of mine was telling me that on the mining site he worked on, a guy developed a staph infection around his face from wearing
Oh,
fucking
really?
the same dirty mask all the time.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people with, like, especially younger kids with like full acne around here because they're just sweating and they've already got bad acne to begin with, and
Yeah.
it's just like real bad.
I saw a bloke on the beach the other day with a fucking face mask on. It's just like, what are they going to do about the tan lines?
Get eaten by a shark. Cunt. Oh yeah, that's a good
Dude,
point.
Sonny's tan. Now you got Mars
Now you
tan
got
as well.
Mars tan as
you got
well.
the fucking speed dealers here, and then the fucking square there. Fucking idiots, eh?
Yeah, there's a picture we showed I think on the podcast of this woman swimming with a mask on.
I saw a
That's
bloke
next level, eh?
on an electric
forgot about
scooter
that.
with one,
Yeah.
and no helmet and a face mask on an electric scooter.
Yeah, there's heaps of dudes in Thailand with the mask on, no helmet, and then they got their kid with no helmet sitting in front of them with no mask. That's hilarious.
You just made me think of something for the extinction list.
Oh yeah. Well, we should do that before we
Scooters.
go, and then we'll get
And
over to
people who
Patreon.
wear masks outside.
We've
All
done,
right,
we've
so-
done that, but we'll add it again. But the fucking electric scooters, I'm sick of seeing them. I'm over it. They're in
100%.
Geraldton now. They're up in fucking Gero. They've done it. They're everywhere.
Oh, electric
And you
scooters, yeah.
fucking doop, and then ride them around.
You know what
yeah.
they are?
They're fucked.
They're the vapes of the road.
Yeah. Okay.
You're gonna start riding one soon, Normie.
Man, it's like next to the
6
comedy.
months, 6 months time, and I'm just like, I love electric scooters. They're the best.
Next to the comedy lounge, right, there's this news agent, and I might be throwing this poor bloke under the bus now, but like it's next to the fucking Ampert
Yeah, I know the one.
Club Capital there.
Yeah.
And the amount of young people in there on a Friday and Saturday night trying to buy those things, and the bin out the front of the joint overflowing with the packaging,
Yeah.
and the whole street just smells like fucking blueberry or watermelon sugar, you know?
Yeah.
Yums.
Oh, is that Russian bloke at that fucking store? Because I used to live across the road from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that guy. He was a good dude. I have chats to him every time I went in, but I couldn't understand a fucking word he was saying.
Still a good dude.
The
Still
best
a good
thing,
dude.
the best thing about that street is the kebab shop next to Amps.
Oh yeah.
They have a fucking mean meat box. It
Dude,
is so good.
dude, I go to the meat box and cheese, and it's,
Oh yeah, every
Yeah.
time. Every
Well,
time.
you guys didn't get to hear the fucking homeless people when, like, during the week when I'd be up in my apartment and you just hear these people like fighting and fucking punching on and shit every fucking night. I used to gather like all the food that I didn't eat for the week and just let it go off a bit more, and then I'd throw shit at them from the 11th floor.
So you probably supported Basil's policy of just like shipping them off into the suburbs. That's what we
Oh,
do.
is that
We
what he
just
did?
get the big tractor in when we shuttle
Yeah,
them off.
they
into
did
the
that when
suburbs.
Is he
the
a
Queen,
fucking
not when
idiot?
the Queen.
Like, well, yes.
Nah, I'm
but-
going into bat for Basil here. This is going to cost me some credibility in some quarters.
Really? Okay.
But I've got a private line of communication to Basil, and I've given him more shit than fucking anyone.
Yeah.
And he's copped it on the chin, and he's been a good bloke about it. He's got his flaws, and he's got his, I guess, politics that most of us would disagree with. But in Basil's mind, I think he sees himself as just a good, hard-working Greek boy. He's doing right by mum and dad, and he hasn't fully conceptualised the broader picture of the evil that he's in.
Yeah.
All right, but I think Basil at heart is a really good guy. He's just caught up in being a media personality, and you have to be everything to everyone.
So basically, the person you have the gripe with is the fucking hole that's on the show with him.
She's gone.
She's gone.
She's gone. She
Oh,
took a
okay.
job with the Australians. She's on the East Coast now.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Because this, and when I was listening to this, like, props to you for fucking doing what you did, and especially off the cuff. But when I was listening to this, I wanted to fucking slap this woman, eh? She's fucking annoying.
You're not the
Like,
only person who said that. to me.
holy shit. Anyway, I got some of
Do
it.
you go to a strip club and get offended by the nudity? Sure. Well, look, I guess comedy is subjective. We all know that, and you're right. To a certain extent, comedy is going to push a few buttons, but it depends, I guess, mate, what buttons you push. Now, we don't have your. Well, let me answer that, Basil. Let me answer that, Basil. Yeah. The buttons I've pushed. I've pushed Woodside. I've pushed Andrew Forrest, Rio Tinto, BHP, the West Australian, Channel 7, and your boss, Terry Stokes. Right. So you go and tell that journalist how that constitutes punching down. And Corey, all of those guys are big enough and powerful enough to stand on their own 2 feet. There's no argument with that. Did you or do you crack jokes about rape?
Fuck yes, I do.
No. That is a
Do
vile
now.
misnomer, and under no
Hold on, where's this?
circumstances did I do a joke that's pro-rape. Do I have jokes that address the issue in a delicate and nuanced way, which is what comedy is supposed to do? At times, yes. But
Corey.
the vast majority of
Here it
people who
comes.
make up
heard from numerous people that were there and some hospo workers about there wasn't a rape gag in your show, but apparently there were some female hecklers, and you basically came back and said, I'm asking for your confirmation or clarity on this. You came back and said, look, ladies, I'm a criminal lawyer and I may just help a rapist get bail tomorrow, so get home safely. Can you
That's a
address
fucking
that?
great
Was that
joke.
said, or was any form of that in any way stated on stage?
Yes, it was, and this is on the back of some unjustified provocations from a small number of girls who haven't actually signed because of personal vendettas and their narcissistic personality disorders. Yes, the joke may be unsavoury, but you know what? There's lots of people who found it hilarious.
That is absolutely, sorry, it's not hilarious when we are in a state which is dealing with DV of endemic proportions. We have women attacked by men at ridiculous rates, and you're making a joke that hoping that women get raped. And you see the front page of the story today where you have a 24-year-old alleged victim of rape in the workplace. We're trying to address this, and you think that that's okay because you're being heckled by a couple of girls in the front row.
Well, look, I've got the recording, and I'm willing to put it into the public domain, and we'll let the public be the judge of whether I was out of bounds or not. And if I'm out of bounds, I will own up and apologise. But if I'm not, Marcus Canning needs to donate the money that was lost from the East Timor Hearts Fund that I was donating to.
Fucking get in.
Protest against Woodside's involvement with the Fringe, which he arranged. Now, you can go and attack me on my joke, divert the issue all you like. The fact is, I've been accused of punching down when I go after the highest hanging fruit in this town as a comedian, and there's no one who will dispute that. And what is not in dispute is that I'm hilarious. So, I'll be on this weekend at a venue here now shortly.
She hated that.
That's
You know.
such a good response.
Triple M listeners, I invite you to come and make up your own mind.
All right, and Corey, that's fair enough. We wanted to give you an opportunity to have your say. We'll give Marcus Canning an opportunity, should he wish, to come on in the remaining 35 minutes of our program. And we will ask you, mate, if you're happy to do that, would you be prepared to send the audio through so that we could have a bit of a listen and perhaps start that process of people making up their own mind?
Well, look, mate, I'm going to tell all the same jokes I did Friday night this weekend. So come and see me live, and then I'll release it into the ether, mate.
All right, last one. And you heard, I wanted to ask you about that. So you can hear from a female who has strong opinions and is a columnist in the newspaper, a broadcaster on the radio, that sort of gear is out of bounds in this day and age. Do you respect Jenna's opinion on that, or are you prepared to at least consider her opinion on that?
I'll consider Jenna's opinion, and in my line of work, I know exactly what goes on in the real world, okay? I'm under no illusions about it. But who appointed Jenna as the arbiter of decency and what is acceptable in a liberal democracy when comedians and artists want to express
My issue is, mate, is that I'm a woman and I'm saying that
triggered the fuck out of it.
Here we go.
Well, she is a woman. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, well, I know.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, and a lot of women have reached out saying that they thought that was completely beyond the pale. I think punching down, you can say whatever you like about billionaires and massive corporations, but when
Jenna, you don't speak for all women.
I'm not speaking for all women. I'm saying as a woman, singular, not plural.
Well, as a comedian, singular, I'm speaking on behalf of my comedy.
But do you not think that maybe that your show was cancelled not because of you're attacking who you believe you've attacked sponsors, but because you've made jokes that are so past the pale in this day and age? That's probably why. Have you had a discussion with the reason why you were cancelled?
I've had discussions with all the best comic minds in the country, and they're all behind me 100%. So, like I said, mate, we'll let this be decided in the court of public opinion, because that's where I'm going to take this.
All right, Corey. Well, you let us know if you are planning to do another show, if there is an opportunity. The only final comment I would say, is there a warning when people enter your shows? Do they know the direction they're heading in? Because, yes, it's fair to say
fucking
that
warning,
comedy
rape
can
jokes.
push buttons. But I think in this day and age, if people are walking into a comedy show and get hit with material that they find repulsive,
and weren't aware that it might be going in that direction. I think that is probably a bit unfair.
What other direction do you think it's going to go in?
I read your newspaper and thought there was good investigative journalism in there and didn't know. That's a bit unfair too. Well, that's another issue though. You can write to the letters community. You can do all of that.
That's the point I'm making, and that you're trying to detract from by going, well, Corey, as a woman, I've had women reach out to me, is this appropriate in this day and age? Well, who appointed you as the gatekeepers of culture and acceptability?
Well, clearly, no one appointed me as a gatekeeper of equality, and no one appointed you as the arbiter of comedic minds. So thanks so much for coming on the show.
There's our Jenna Clark and Corey White, comedian. What we can say out of that, Xavier, rumour confirmed, the show was on the money. Was pulled from Fringe, and that invitation stands if Marcus Canning from Rechabites, the venue for that particular show on, was it Friday night or Saturday night?
What did he say?
If you'd like.
He came out and said, this is my fault. It got through to the keeper, that it was first brought to my attention by the brave, powerful, fierce young women that work for me, and didn't take it on board. And then it was brought to his attention by his wife. He didn't take it on board. And then when it was, the journalists from the West Australian, use that word loosely, who, got upset, then he took it on board.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that his wife liked my show and exactly what show she was at.
Really?
But also the whole thing about people, should they be aware of what they're getting into at a comedy show? They should already know. Like, I'm sorry, were you born yesterday? Some of the comics there are going to be people that sort of like, what's his fucking name? Seinfeld, where they're very sort of like clean cut.
Yeah.
But still funny, and others are going to be the total fucking opposite.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a broad range of people, like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's a social contract you sign when you walk in too. I mean,
yep.
That was a late night underground comedy showcase. You're not walking into a late night show expecting Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And if you don't like something you hear, that's part and parcel of the contract you entered into when you walk in. If I walked into the strip club and I go, these chicks are fucking ugly, mate. It's like, well, you're in Perth, bro. But I would never do that because the women here are gorgeous. And, you just don't go in and complain like that. You're kind of a thing. You're asking to get your head beaten in, or you're asking to be humiliated in a room in front of people.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And they heckled as well. And I think if you heckle, it's free game.
Fuck yeah, if you heckle, it's free game. Just leave, man, if you don't like it. Or he said something about rape. Well, that's the other thing. They probably didn't have a problem with the other jokes about fucking...
They did. They got upset about my women's AFL joke.
Or those all women-based jokes.
No, the joke it was making fun about the commodification of social justice trends. Not having a go at women, but because they don't understand the nuance and subtlety, they just see the world. They hear women and they go, you what? And they fucking start peacocking in that feminine way, and they want to brawl.
Yeah. I liked, and I think you might have been there. I've seen Kyle twice.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the first time, or it could have been with you. And there was a nurse there, and she was pretty tanked, and she just kept like heckling. Most of it was pretty.
I think that was the one that we went to.
It might have been.
Yeah.
And Kyle just fucking destroyed. Like if the Rechabite heard what he was saying, he'd be cancelled for eternity.
Yeah.
The problem I have with what you were subjected to by a female personality is the fake outrage. So she's saying, we have a domestic violence crisis. People are getting raped. Women are getting raped at mine sites. What is she actually advocating to protect women? I proudly advocate for self-defense for women and men and weaker individuals. I'm getting up there and putting myself out there and running for the Senate and campaigns. She's getting on the radio and having a go at a male comedian and using the gender card. As soon as you pull the gender card, you've already lost the debate, love. Sorry. Never go into a debate pulling the gender card as some sort of I'm better than you. So as a woman, I apologise that you were subjected to that by a woman who thought she was speaking on behalf of all women, because she did think but what has she actually done for women?
Yeah, fuck exactly. To me, it seems like she is what Opie and Anthony used to call the whole. So when you have a radio station, there's a quota to meet, right? She's the quota. So
and if you listen to that, you can hear like she was almost passing Basil notes, like, oh, he's being so mean to me. Here, say this, and that's why he took over the interview. And she was getting very upset. And I know we're emotional creatures, but if you can't even rationally argue the point about why she was offended, not all women were offended. I can make the rape jokes like the best of them, right? But you choose to get offended. I've been in domestic violence situations. I don't get offended when guys talk about punching women in the face because that's my own issue to deal with, not for others to tiptoe around my issues. So we've progressed in a society backwards where we are not allowing free speech. Free speech is you can say what you want, but you don't have to listen. And you can respectfully disagree, and you don't have to go on radio and be chastised publicly for someone who's giving it a go. And I take my hat off to you, Corey.
I hope someone.
And you didn't pay me to say that.
I was going to say, I hope someone comments at how dreamily I was looking at you when you're on that soapbox just then defending me. And I was just like, my heart was fluttering, and I haven't had the vaccine, so you know.
That was a Josh Spencer level rant too. So you're definitely
I am channeling Josh.
Yeah, no, that was fierce and powerful and brave.
It was very brave.
Anyone
If it
that
was anything, it
jokes
was
about
brave.
rape isn't a rapist. Anyone that doesn't joke about it
Well,
and
it's
serious about rape, they're rapists.
Bill Cosby, bro. Look how many rape jokes he told.
Good fucking point. Yeah.
And men can be raped too. Men can be in domestic violence situations too. I'm sick of it being a gender issue because it's not.
No, it's
It's not. And until we're mature enough to talk about it without the lens of gender, it's more a socio-economic issue. Let's talk about that.
This is my issue with it, right? And it was like Jenna appropriating that narrative of trauma and sexual assault to further her own vanity in the media.
Yeah.
It's like the vast majority of women who experience that horrific thing are from lower socioeconomic areas. And Jenna wouldn't stand next to one of those women unless there was a fucking selfie involved. And that's what I hate about it. And look what they did
Just
with Brittany
insincere.
Higgins. You know, like all the sisterhood feminist journalists in the press gallery were so much more interested in winning a fucking Walkley or breaking the story first that they jeopardized that trial.
Oh, yeah.
They had to
That's right.
abort the first trial. Justice Lucy McCullum gave Lisa Wilkinson an absolute fucking spray over
She's
that.
a fucking
and so she
horrible
should
human, eh?
have.
Yeah.
And they didn't care about Brittany Higgins one bit. They cared about their own fucking career and their own personal vanity.
Yeah.
And the way that, you know, Brittany Higgins was just disposable to them in that situation. I just thought it spoke volumes of the solidarity amongst women in that class.
And the hypocrisy. So when I ran for the Senate, I had, and this story sticks with me to this day, a woman came up to me at a freedom rally and said that she fled a domestic violence situation and went to a women's shelter. They asked for a proof of vaccination.
Oh.
She wasn't vaccinated. She returned home to her husband, who beat the living shit out of her. She ended up in hospital that night. Her brother went to visit her. He wasn't let in because he wasn't vaccinated. Where is Jenna Clark sticking up for these people who were treated appallingly by the state? Why isn't she using her platform to talk about that? Because it doesn't benefit her.
Yeah.
You've seen what she's on now. Like, she's like a fucking constantly on the Kardashians or the worst superficial pop culture. And it's just like, you don't have the right to call yourself a journalist when you peddle this shit. Like, just stop with that label. You're not a journalist, shoelace. And it's an insult to the people who are real journalists, you know?
Yeah. Fucking hell. Well, she can be the honorary first person for this year's Kill Yourself.
Fuck, this is going to get me in trouble.
Oh, I'm putting it on there. You're not doing
I
it.
will
It's me.
nominate her, so it's
Yeah.
it's a fair battle of the sexes.
Thank you so
Jenna-
much, Lady Liberty.
And I'm happy
Jenna
to
Clark.
I'm
Jenna
happy
Clark.
to debate
an E.
her
With
an E.
anytime, and I'll leave out my little Zach Cup jokes.
All right, Jennifer. Anyone
So
else?
we got Marcus Canning on there. That's my
Oh, yeah.
nomination
Oh, yeah.
to keep certain people's heads above water.
Okay.
We're all just protecting you, mate.
Thanks, mate. I've always wanted a bit of solidarity.
Yeah. Fuck.
I can't think of anyone else.
No, me neither.
Well, I mean, I think you've had Who's Who in the Zoo have been on the list. This is the first one of the year.
Yeah.
First one of the year.
Can we put Tatey on?
Tatey.
Yeah,
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
100%.
that's a good idea.
Put yourself in his shoes.
No, thanks.
Take the shoelaces out of him. Tie a noose.
All right,
Take the
that's
bed
good.
sheets off the bed.
Then Extinction List.
Scooters. Electric
yes,
scooters.
e-scooters. That's
Yeah,
a fucking good
they
one.
gotta fucking go.
They do, yeah.
When
the
I
amount
was
of
in-
times I've
when I was
nearly
in
been
Sydney,
fucking
they were
cleaned up by one.
Fucking, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So you can't hear them,
No, you can't.
and they fucking race through Moe Street Mall like fucking crazy, and nearly take every cunt out.
Yeah.
I know Josh was saying he nearly got hit by one.
Yeah.
Because he was living in the city, and nearly got fucking cleaned up by one.
Oh, yeah,
And
heaps
they-
people have, yeah.
Yeah, they're fucked. They gotta
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Can I put Dan Andrews' voters?
On the Extinction?
Yeah, I respect
Yeah, that's a good idea.
people's right to vote, but
Nah, don't respect
Not
him.
when it comes to that kind, like the second most locked down city in the world, and you're still going to give him his seat back. I have a moral issue with that. So
Should we just put Melbourne citizens
Yeah,
on there?
fuck it. 7 million people.
the entirety of
Extinction.
Victoria.
I didn't mind
Not all of
Melbourne.
them.
Yeah.
It's not all of them.
Well, they're saying that it's going to be the most livable city and biggest city within fucking not very long. It's going to beat Sydney, apparently.
I prefer Sydney. If I had to pick between the two.
I'd pick Melbourne, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the way I heard it explained best was Sydney was the sister who never had to work on her personality because she was gorgeous, whereas Melbourne didn't have the looks and
What's
had
Perth
to develop
then?
a personality. Perth is the sister that just got lucky and married the rich Asian guy.
Yeah. Perth is the retarded cousin.
What else needs to go extinct?
Yeah, I don't know.
Vapes.
Yes, fuck yeah.
You will never
Yep.
take my vape away
Oh,
from me.
these,
From my
these two
cold
both.
dead
No, I'm with you.
hand.
Vapes it is. Yeah.
Do you
My
like
cold dead
weed?
hand.
Occasionally,
Have you ever smoked a weed vape?
recently.
Ah, hypocrite. Okay.
No, I mean,
You're
they're
coming
different.
from King
you're
Hypocrite
talking
over here.
about-
Don't worry
I'm
about
just
that.
making-
Nicotine
I'm
based.
making
He's calling you a
distinction.
hypocrite. He was saying how gay vapes were 6 months ago.
I remember being on this show.
Yep.
Yeah, you would have been on
And
it.
if that's the filthiest thing you're willing to put in your mouth, Normie, where does it end?
That is not the
Oh, there you
filthiest
go.
thing, mate. Not even close.
Kay, you're going to be the first
Vapes are on.
Legends list entrant. I can't find your fucking list though. Where is
Best rant of the
it?
year
No,
so far.
I don't have it. Well, you just will be. I don't have the list, unfortunately. I didn't bring it up. So
Thank you, David. Please consider buying one of my calendars because you're obviously a huge simp for me.
yeah, terms that need
There's
to
a
go.
few sims for you amongst our listeners.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think James Go was simping on you.
Yep, we sent him some nudes. So
I don't have any nudes.
Oh.
Yeah. You've never watched porn, but you do it.
what was that term that needed to go? I've forgotten already.
Window. Oh, terms that need to come back is what
Oh
we have.
yeah, terms that need to come
It's
back.
window licker and
Who
biffing.
came back with that one?
Corey.
Window liquor.
I want to put Corey on the Legends list this year because
Oh, yeah, that's a good
he is a legend and he's smarter than most people.
Well, definitely smarter than us.
And that shit with fucking Basil
Yeah.
and just all the shit he gets himself into is great.
Yep,
I love it.
it's good.
Not good for him, but
No.
oh, to a degree.
Terms that need to go. What terms that need to go?
I don't have any.
Rape jokes. No.
No, the fucking what's the fucking all the terms that they're trying to replace
Oh yeah.
shit with? They all need to go on.
Yeah,
so
fuck,
like I'm
I'll have
doing
to-
two things at once. That needs to go.
That never needs to come into this vernacular at all.
Yeah.
What was it? Cancelling as opposed to abortion. Cancel
Oh,
or
yeah.
end. They
Yeah.
need to go. Those actually
So it's more like terms that need to stay.
cancel
Maybe-
should
Well,
go.
we have
actually.
terms that need to come back.
Yeah.
Terms
Oh,
need to
you've
come
got
back,
that?
and I
Okay.
think last year's terms that need to come back were all like it
was
was all
faggots.
like yeah, it was like faggots, N word,
Yeah.
fucking like hick, Jew, pike, spick, like all the racial terms we
Yeah,
put it
pretty
on.
much.
On
Do
that.
you know what word or
Ripstart.
phrase needs to
Ripstart is a
come
term
back?
that needs to fucking come back.
Poo jabber.
Poo jab.
Poo jabber. Yeah, that's not bad.
Done.
I like it. That's it then. Terms that need to go. I can't think of any. So
You got any terms that need to go? Things people say that fucks you off?
As a woman,
yeah,
That's a good
fucking
one.
great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
not
yeah,
just a
that one's
pretty
on there.
face.
I'm just gonna put as a and then ... because
Yeah.
so
Oh,
many
well,
people
Does
go,
that insert
as a
person
black
identity?
I will-
woman who's been oppressed by
What you guys
that,
are just talking about now is the video we'll play on the Patreon.
yeah.
Because it's all that.
I know.
Every time they speak, it's as a something. Insert fucking oppressed person.
I got a bunch of fucking Instagram reels we can hit
Alright.
on the Patreon as well.
Well,
Some-
we're
some
running
pretty
over already, so it's going to be a long one. We might as well wrap her up.
good. Alright.
Well, that was the first one for this year, episode 90.
Yep, and we burnt through
So-
2 guests already. So it's
Yeah.
but cheers for coming on, guys.
thanks very much
Always
for
a
having
pleasure.
us. Yeah.
Sorry I forgot your name. That's a bit
That's
rude of me,
alright.
but I'll
It's
make it
alright.
up to you.
As
I'll give you a wristy on the Patreon.
Yeah.
long as those hands are nice and callous from the tools.
Oh, you know it, baby. I'm an electrician, so they're not that calloused. Sort of halfway.
So we're going to go to Patreon, but because when we go live on Patreon and we say fucked up shit, we get banned. So we're no longer going live on Patreon. So sorry to anyone that wants it live, but it'll come out tomorrow when the podcast episode comes out. So you'll hear it then.
You can get it then.
Righto.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
See ya.